A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Larry Noble is planning to move from his hotel near Hollywood into a small and less expensive place so that he can save more money to apply to his debts and set up a suitable living allowance for his wife, Mary, when she gets out of the New York hospital where she's recovering from the acid burns inflicted by the enraged Claudia Vincent. For Larry is convinced his wife holds him indirectly responsible for her condition, since he had so insistently believed in Claudia despite all protests. And Larry believes the Hollywood picture contract he now has was arranged because Mary wanted him as far away from her as possible. Right now, it's mid-morning on a bright Sunday. Larry is free for the day, and he's driving the car his friend Tom Bryson loaned him down Hollywood Boulevard. And at a designated corner, he pulls over to the curb and waits. Several minutes later, a bus stops at the corner, and an attractive young girl gets out. Larry blows his horn.
Dora! Here I am.
Oh, gee, you did make it, Mr. Noble. And right on time, too. I thought you might change your mind or something.
Oh, then you must have a rather low opinion of me, Dora Dean. Here, let me open the door.
Now, you know I don't have a low opinion of you, Mr. Noble. My folks tell me if I don't quit talking about you all the time, they'll turn me right out of the house.
Well, in that case, you'd better take their advice. You know, it's mighty nice of you to give up your day off from the studio to drive around to help me find a place to live.
Oh, I'm tickled to death to do it, Mr. Noble. Look, I've got a whole list of places to go.
Great.
That is, if you really mean what you said about wanting just an inexpensive room.
I certainly do mean it, Dora. The reason I'm out here now is to save as much money as I can to pay up all my bills, particularly the hospital bills for my wife back in New York. So you just tell me where to go and I'll follow directions.
All right. You better keep right on this way for a while and I'll tell you where to turn. What night! That man nearly drove into you. Oh, honestly, the way some people drive out here.
You know, that fellow looks kind of familiar. I'm beginning to wonder about him.
You mean you know him, Mr. Noble?
No, but I think he was following us back from the studio yesterday when I drove back with Mr. Marco. Let's keep an eye on him.
You mean you think he might be following you?
Well, I don't see why he should, Dora, but it is kind of funny. I'd swear it's the same man.
I'll watch him and make sure. He's falling back now. Oh, there he goes around the corner.
Yeah, I guess I was just imagining things. I better stop that.
Do you really think it's the same man? I mean, maybe you ought to be careful. He might be one of those confidence men or something.
Oh, and he wouldn't be following me. Not in my present financial state. Well, let's just forget it, Dora. I'm sure it's only my imagination.
Okay. Well, then, keep right on going about a couple of miles or so and then turn right. I'll show you when we get to the street.
Meantime, out on his luxurious Long Island estate at Oyster Bay, wealthy Rupert Barlow, who is infatuated with Mary Noble, is spending a restless morning, looking through the newspapers in his library. Julia Dixon, his attractive housekeeper, is with him, and she says,
"Would you like to see this paper, Rupert? Maybe you'll find it more interesting."
No, thanks, Julia. I've seen enough papers for the time being.
You're awfully restless this morning. What's the matter?
Nothing. Why do you ask?
Because you're so nervous. Why don't you go out and play a round of golf or something?
I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay at home. That's why I came out here to Long Island instead of staying at my apartment in New York.
Awfully nice to have you here. You've been staying in New York such a lot. I sometimes wonder why you want to keep up a big place like this when you're here so little.
I've had a great many things to do in New York lately, and a lot on my mind, Julia.
Is there anything I can do to help?
No, nothing at all. Just don't bother about me.
Well, I'm sorry if my being here disturbs you, Rupert. Perhaps I should go to my cottage and just leave you alone.
Oh, don't be so touchy, Julia. You always take my mood so personally.
It's a habit I've developed after being with you for 10 years. It's hard to break. I never know what to expect nor how to treat you.
Oh, that's ridiculous, Julia.
I don't think so. I think perhaps I should realize that I'm just one of your employees, paid to run your home and see that everything is done to make you comfortable. I shouldn't allow myself to behave as though I were someone you ever noticed.
You know perfectly well that I'm very devoted to you, that I couldn't possibly manage without you.
You appear to manage only too well without me, Rupert. I realize that all the hopes I ever had are just empty dreams. If I'd had any sense at all, I'd have left you years ago and tried to make something of my life.
Julia, please, I wish you wouldn't always take that aggrieved tone.
I know, Rupert. You prefer to have me docile and patient, forever.
I'd like to have you understand that right now I have a great deal on my mind.
I thought it was just one thing on your mind. Or should I say one person?
What do you mean by that?
Well, isn't it obvious? I mean Mary Noble. What's the matter, Rupert? Are you afraid of becoming too involved?
I don't know what you're talking about, Julia.
I know that you're seeing her every day.
How could you know that?
Well, aren't you?
Who's been telling such stories?
No one has to tell me, Rupert. I know you too well. And I know that when you suddenly decided to postpone your southern cruise, it means you had a reason. Mary Noble.
Oh, you're letting your imagination run away with you.
Where am I? Right after Larry Noble flew to the coast, you suddenly changed your plans. You've been staying in New York at your apartment ever since. I can put two and two together.
Your unreasonable jealousy of Mary Noble does you little credit. I should think that now, when she's confined to a hospital, you might have some sympathy for her.
I'm sure Mary Noble doesn't want my sympathy, particularly when she has yours. I'd be the last person she'd care about.
You've never done anything to make her feel friendly towards you.
Why should I? When she stands between me and my own happiness.
Oh, nonsense, Julia.
It isn't nonsense, and you know it, Rupert Barlow. I'm sure you've gone out of your way to make sure she'll be impressed with your attention.
For your information, Mary Noble will probably be scarred for life when she leaves the hospital. Yet that doesn't seem to touch you at all.
No. If it were true, then I'm sure you wouldn't be spending so much time with her.
I suppose you hope that she will be disfigured.
Perhaps I do. It would mean the end of her hold over you, I know that much.
You're being callous and cruel. If I've been visiting Mary, it's only because I know she's alone and frightened, and needs someone to give her moral support. Since her husband obviously doesn't care enough to stay at her side.
Somehow I can see you as a great unselfish friend. It's just not in character, Rupert. You must know more about her condition than you've admitted, or you wouldn't be wasting your time.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to any more of this kind of talk, Julia.
Where are you going?
I don't know, but I'm going out. And I have no idea when I'll return.
And at this same time, Mary Noble is in her room at a New York hospital, waiting to have Dr. Allen remove the bandages from her face, so that she can see for the first time what she may expect from the burns that have caused her so much anguish. The doctor now enters her room, followed by Mary's nurse, and we hear...
Well, Mrs. Noble, how are you feeling this morning?
Very well, thank you, Dr. Allen. And a little bit impatient, although I know I shouldn't be.
I know it's difficult for you, but I want you to continue to be brave as you have been right along.
You are going to take off the bandages, as you promised, aren't you?
Yes, I'll remove them this morning. But before I do, I want you to remember not to expect too much.
What do you mean, Dr. Allen?
You must bear in mind that these burns are deep, and they take time to heal. There is no way of hurrying nature.
Yes, I understand that. But does that mean my face will look...
Suppose we don't say any more, Mrs. Noble, and let you see for yourself. Now then, just sit very still for a few moments and try to relax.
I'll do my best, Doctor.
That's right. Now then, nurse, if you'll stand by. First the scissors. That's right. You can cut this outer layer and proceed. Now, just a minute, Mrs. Noble. I want you to be very still.
Yes.
We have to be very careful removing the bandages so that the tender new skin underneath is protected. That's it. Now, there's just a little more. Careful. Don't move. I have an idea you'll be very much surprised at the remarkable way you've healed. No, don't speak for a moment. That's right. Now then, this is the final layer. Just try not to be so tense, my dear. Relax. That's better. Now, it's all over.
May I see how I look now, Dr. Allen?
Yes, Mrs. Noble. Just give me that hand mirror, nurse.
I'm almost afraid to look.
There's nothing to be afraid of, Mrs. Noble. Just remember not to expect too much. Now then, I'll hold the mirror up for you and you can see for yourself what progress you've made.
Dr. Allen holds the mirror, and Mary Noble looks at her reflection, wondering what to expect, and how far her hopes have been answered. Be sure to be listening Monday to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband, Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
The story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A pair of bandits are staging a rapid-fire campaign of holdups in your city. In 21 days, 11 food markets have been robbed. The holdups go on. The suspects are still unidentified. Your job? Get them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, September 26th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 9:18 a.m. when I got to the record bureau. Lieutenant Cunningham's office.
Joe, what's doing?
Oh, not too much. Got a job you can do for us, Frank. Like to have it as soon as you can get it out.
Oh, what's it about?
On these market bandits. We've already gotten out a dozen teletypes and bulletins on them. Like to get out some mimeographs, too, if we can.
General distribution, eh? What do you want on them?
Well, I better lay out the whole thing for you. A lot of the copies are going to the Retail Grocers Association, all their members.
No luck with those 2 fees so far, huh?
No. We're no closer than we were 3 weeks ago. Figure this ought to plug another loophole.
How many copies you figure you want on this? About 1,000?
Yeah, that's fine. That ought to do it.
All right. Okay, now what do you want to go into, Joe?
Well, you better lead off with the first job they pulled. That was on the 3rd of this month. Makes it a little better than 3 weeks now. They hit a supermarket out on Pico.
Okay.
Got it? Ever since, they've averaged about 3 jobs a week. We know they're hitting nothing but supermarkets. All of them on main thoroughfares, no small neighborhood stuff.
I got it.
So far, they've confined their operations to the 77th Street Division and the county territories, generally the south end of town. They're 2 men, and they got a pretty well-established M.O.
Well-established, okay.
They're hitting in the morning hours, usually from the time the markets open up until around noontime. They use a stolen car. 95% of the time, a car stolen from the industrial area. Cars they steal for the jobs are always either a Pontiac or an A.
Yeah.
We also know they're dropping the stolen cars within a short radius of the holdup scene, about a half a dozen blocks or so. In some instances, they use a second automobile or public transportation, some kind of bus or streetcar, to make their getaway after they drop the stolen car.
Joe.
I'm sorry. A little fast, huh?
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Well, they usually pull up and park directly in front of the market that they're going to hold up. One of the men always remains in the car behind the wheel. Apparently, it's always the same man.
His description?
Meager. We know he's good size. MWA. Fairly large build. Here's about the best description we've been able to piece together on the second man. Picked up a little bit from each victim.
All right.
Second man described as MWA also. About 5'8", medium build, 155 to 160 pounds.
Yeah.
Always wears a hat.
Yeah.
Brown suit, rough material of some kind, maybe tweed. Want to smoke, Frank?
Huh?
Smoke.
Oh, no.
All right. When he enters the market for the holdup, the second man always holds a white handkerchief. Hold a white handkerchief to his face as if he's wiping his eyes. Keeps most of his face covered with it during the robbery. He's armed with a nickel-plated revolver, possibly 38 caliber.
Yeah.
We know the jobs are well cased because in almost every instance the suspect goes directly to the manager of the market.
Directly to the manager.
He hands the manager a brown paper sack, tells him to put the money in it, and then he takes off. So far, he's never attempted any rough stuff, no gunplay. On 3 occasions, when the suspects got only small amounts of money at one market, they hit again in 15 or 20 minutes at another store in the same general area. They never make any attempt to disguise or conceal the license number on the getaway car. As I say, they always abandon the car a short distance from the holdup scene.
Let's see, Okay, I got it.
Well, that's about all of it, Frank. I guess you can boil that down into some kind of shape, huh?
Yeah, okay. I'll have it typed up in a form. I'll get you a copy before we make the run, see if it's okay with you.
Fine, thanks.
Not going so good, huh?
No, it isn't, Frank. Pretty slow. We've been on top of this thing for a couple of weeks now. We're still looking for some kind of a break.
See, I understand Glenn Chandler from your office took off for some fishing down in Mexico, huh?
Yeah. Not doing bad from what I hear. I got a card from him yesterday. He's down by Keno Bay.
Huh?
He put the bite on me to send him a dozen martin plugs.
Fish must be hidden pretty good down there.
That's what he says, yeah. Those big brown sea bass especially. I wouldn't mind getting in a couple of days down there myself.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Record Bureau, Cunningham. Yeah, just a minute. You, Joe.
Thanks. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Mm-hmm. When? All right. Yeah, okay. Right away. Yeah, fine. Check that for me later, Frank. Might be a little change.
What's the matter?
Market bandits. They hit again.
These days, most commercial banks seem to be interested in talking to you about themselves and telling you what to do. But at San Juan Bank, California, we prefer a different approach, one that most banks don't use. We listen to your needs, to your plans, to your dreams. We found that only by listening can we truly understand. Without understanding your business, no one should be giving you advice. But listening, understanding, and fulfilling the needs of thousands of California businesses is why San Juan Bank is the third largest bank headquartered in California, something you may not have known. San Juan bankers are relationship-oriented and experienced in working with businesses large and small. Our senior relationship managers will work directly with your staff to create the solutions you need today and beyond. So see your San Juan banker. There are more than 100 offices statewide, or call 1-800-400-2781. When you do, we'll do something that you just might not have experienced in quite a while. We'll listen.
San Juan Bank, California. A relationship worth having.
Finding out you or a loved one has cancer is never easy. It's natural to be afraid when faced with the decision of choosing a cancer treatment. This is the cancer itself. The Proton Treatment Center at Loma Linda University Medical Center is the result of 4 decades of leading-edge cancer research and treatment. Opened in 1990, the Proton Treatment Center offers a non-surgical procedure that is superior to traditional radiation therapy in a number of ways. Proton therapy is so precise, there is little or no damage to surrounding tissue. This results in minimal side effects, and most patients experience no disruption in their daily activities. In fact, proton therapy is offered as an outpatient procedure. Call 1-800-PROTONS for a free information packet and videotape explaining the benefits of proton therapy. 1-800-PROTONS. The Proton Treatment Center at Loma Linda University Medical Center. 1-800-PROTONS.
KNX 1070 News Radio.
9:38 a.m. Ben and I got in the car and drove to the scene of the bandits' latest holdup, a new supermarket out on Slauson near the intersection of South Broadway. After interviewing the manager of the store and all available witnesses to the robbery, there wasn't much doubt about the identity of the suspect. The description and M.O. fitted perfectly with that of the 2 men who'd been staging a whirlwind campaign of market robberies throughout the south end of the city for the past 3 weeks. The approach and execution of the holdup was the same in every detail, even to the stolen car they'd used, which was found abandoned a short distance from the robbery scene. There was only one deviation, and it was the first break we'd had in the case since it started. A woman customer at the market, a Mrs. Thomas Swanson, saw the holdup man as he left the store and ran to the getaway car. She told us that the car door apparently stuck when he tried to pull it open, and that he took away the handkerchief which he'd held to his face in order to pull the door open with both hands. During those few seconds, she got a good look at him. After taking the crime report and making our preliminary investigation, we brought Mrs. Swanson downtown. We had her check through mug books of all recent parolees from the state penitentiary, all ex-convicts with robbery records. After a couple of hours of checking mug shots, she couldn't seem to make positive identification.
Very sorry, officer. It just gets a little confusing after a while looking at all these pictures. I did get a good look at the man's face. I just can't settle on one of these pictures, so...
Well, from what you did see of him, Mrs. Swanson, the lower part of the man's face especially, can you find a good likeness in any of these?
Well, yes, I can find good likenesses for some of his features, but none of them are all together in any one of these pictures here. Like the mouth and chin on this man here.
Yes, ma'am. Is that pretty close?
Almost exactly, I'd say. And then the nose on this one here, it's the very same.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't seen any picture that fits them all together. You know what I mean, don't you?
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Now, these 5 pictures here that you've picked out, you pretty much say that they incorporate all the features of the man that you saw getting that
That's right, officer. This man here, and this one, too.
Uh-huh.
I'd say the lower part of his face is exactly like that. The small mouth and mustache just like that, and the chin pointed like on this man.
And the upper part of his face, would you say it resembles these others here?
Yes. These 3 here, just the upper part. You see, around the eyes, the forehead. I'd say that was very close.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just put the 2 sets of pictures together, I think you'd have the man perfectly. Sorry I can't be more helpful. As I say, looking at all these books of pictures, it gets a little confusing.
Well, you've given us quite a bit of help, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Is there anything else?
No, thank you. Not right now. We've got your address and telephone. We'll probably be contacting you in a day or two. If you'd like to wait right here, we'll make arrangements to have one of the officers drive you back to your home.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Goodbye, ma'am. We'll be talking to you.
Okay, yes, goodbye.
What do you think, Joe?
Well, it's more than we had yesterday. Her description's the best we've got on the guy so far.
How about getting a composite picture made up from the mugshot you picked
Yeah,
out?
that's what I was thinking. You want to duck in and get somebody to drive Miss Swanson home? I'm going to go in here in the captain's office.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Ben.
Friday, how'd you make that?
Well, could have been worse, Captain.
Woman find anything in the mug books?
No positive identification. She picked out 5 of them she thought were close. I think maybe Putoff over at the crime lab ought to be able to make up a pretty good composite from them.
Mm-hmm. She fairly positive about the man's description?
Yeah, seems to have a clear idea. Good composite ought to help us quite a bit.
You get this new description that mimeograph you're having made up?
No, not yet. I'm going to see Frank about it in a minute.
Hi, Skipper.
Ben?
Got a hold of Jeff Gonzalez, Joe. He's going to drive Mrs. Swanson home.
Fine. Did you ask him if he checked on that last run we made through the staff's office?
Yeah, he picked it up. He and Frank Estrada are going to start checking the names this morning. It's not much of a list. Been pretty well picked over already.
So all you got from the witnesses out there this morning? Description from Mrs. Swanson?
Yeah, that's about it. The rest of it was their usual M.O. Swanson woman was the only one who got a good look at the guy when he took the handkerchief away from his face.
How about the getaway car they found?
Same as the others. Leighton Prince checked it over. It's clean.
Well, 2 thieves had their share of luck when we get ours.
How about Metro Division, Captain? Can we get any help out there?
What do you got in mind?
Well, we know the take that the 2 thieves got in that job this morning was pretty small for them, $340.
Yeah.
From their M.O. in the past, we know whenever they get a small take on the job, they usually hit another place fast. They work in a fairly concentrated area down the south end. They only go after big markets on the main thoroughfare.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was thinking if we could get some help from Metro, put maybe 15 or 20 crews down in the area for the next couple of days, might stand a good chance of grabbing them.
We were talking to Dick Tiernan over at the sheriff's office, Skipper. He says he could put some of his men down that area, too. Cover the county on the fringes, the territory around there. What do you think?
All right, fine. If I can get Stevens at Metro right now, set it up. So you've got 20 crews, is that right?
Just about, yeah. With any kind of luck at all, we ought to land them.
Well, sure worth a try. Lieutenant Stevens, please. Yeah, Joe, this is Harry Didion. Fine. We've got a little stakeout problem here. How about using some of your men? About 30. All right, I'll settle for 25. Yeah, south end of town. Those market bandits. Fine. Do you have them report here at robbery, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning? All right. Thanks a lot. It's all set. You got 25 men, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay, Skipper.
We'll give you a dozen teams to start with, and Gonzalez and Estrada are 1 more. How many you figure working from the sheriff's office?
Oh, about 4 or 5 teams, I imagine.
All right, it's your operation. You 2 will be in charge on our end. You run the show, you brief the men. If you need anything, call me.
Right.
How about the overall plan, Skipper? You got any special ideas on it?
Just one.
Yeah?
Get 'em.
1:18 p.m. We got the revised description of one of the hold-up men to Lieutenant Frank Cunningham at the Record Bureau. He told us 1,000 copies of the special mimeograph form containing all available information on the 2 market bandits would be ready for us that night. We met with Sergeant Putoff, the artist at the crime lab, and he went to work making up a composite picture of one of the suspects from the mugshot selected by the robbery witness, Mrs. Swanson. When the picture was completed, we had Mrs. Swanson check it for similarity to the actual hold-up man, and then we brought it back to the Record Bureau, where 1,000 copies were made of it. The pictures, along with the mimeograph forms, were sent immediately to the Retail Grocers Association for distribution to all market operators throughout the city. Additional copies of the picture and the information sheet were given to each man who was to work the stakeout when we met in the squad room at 7 o'clock the next morning. Besides the men from Metropolitan Division and the men from Robbery who were going to work with us, Lieutenant Dick Tiernan and Sergeant Dave Carey from the sheriff's office were also there for the briefing.
Well, briefly, that's the rundown on the 2 suspects and the M.O. they follow. It's the same information and description on them you'll find in those memo forms we handed out. Joe, you want to take over and give them their assignment?
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll just take a look at this pin-up map here for a minute. I'll try and brief you on how the stakeout's going to go. The way we got it figured, anyway. Well, we've worked out a plan we think ought to be the easiest and the best way to work it. If any of you have any suggestions as we go along, we'd sure like to have them. All right, now, as you can see from the map here, the stakeout area is in the south end. It runs from, can you all see it from there?
Yeah.
Okay. It runs from Santa Fe Avenue over here on the east to Vermont Avenue on the west, running north and south. Now, we'll have to cover from Santa Barbara Avenue on the north down to Manchester. That'll be the southern boundary right there. That's the area the thieves have been working. So we're going to have 14 of our own crews covering that area, and Dick Tiernan and Dave Terry from the sheriff's office will have their men covering adjoining county territory. Now, we've broken the map down into equal units, as you can see here. Each unit will be covered by one car, and each of you will be assigned a unit number. Romero and myself will be an 80K. We'll have a Roby unit. We'll cover the entire area. You'll have three-way radios in your car, so you'll be able to contact us directly if you have to. Now, if you'll check the map again, you can see these green pins we've placed here. Oh, each one of them represents a market robbery. Now, notice that every one of them is on a main thoroughfare. See? Manchester, South Broadway, Vernon, South Hoover. Now, I don't have to tell you that that's where you'll have to keep a sharp watch on the main street. Each of the individual units here on the map will be covered by one car, as I said. Each one roughly 9 blocks square. Now, you'll be responsible for the area assigned to you. We haven't got too much time, so before we go down the list to assign the areas, have you got any questions? Any questions at all?
Yeah. Suppose there's a 211 call in somebody else's area. I mean, other than the one you're assigned to. Do we leave our area and head over there?
No, Jeff, I meant to bring that up. If there's a robbery call in somebody else's area, stay put till you get a call to lend a hand. Anything else?
Yeah, how about the managers of these markets? They've been briefed on a stakeout. They know we're going to be covering the area.
Yeah, they've all been alerted. Now, in case of a holdup, they might try to contact you directly. They'll be looking for you. You'll be looking for them. Is that it, Bob? This covers for you?
Yeah, but I'm just wondering about this number 2 suspect, the one who drives the getaway car.
Yeah.
Well, it says here the dope sheet number 1 suspect carries a nickel-plated revolver. Now, how about number 2? He carry a gun?
Well, I wish I could answer that. We don't know. All the information we got on him is on the sheet right there.
I see. Well, they never try any rough stuff anyway, do they? No gunplay. They never hurt anyone.
No, not yet. Don't let them make you the first. 7:30 a.m. We finished handing out the assignments, and the men left to take up their stakeout positions in the south end of the city. 2 men to a team, each team in a 3-way radio car, each car to patrol a designated 9-square block unit. There were 20 such units within the frame of the overall stakeout area. At the same time, cruiser cars from the sheriff's office, operating on their own radio setup, began patrolling the fringe positions which fell in county territory. Through Control 1 at our communications division, we kept in continual contact with them. 8 a.m. All the cars were in position, each of them patrolling their individual 9-square block unit. The first 2 hours passed. No reports, no sign of the market bandit. Between 10 a.m. and noon, half a dozen possible suspects were stopped and questioned by different teams and then brought to the 77th Street Division for processing. All of them were eliminated. The afternoon of the first day went pretty much the same. We had shakedowns on 4 parked cars in the area and more shakedowns on possible suspects. Nothing materialized. The next morning, Ben and I, along with the other 32 men in the stakeout, picked up where we left off. Again, no sign of the suspects, no report. The morning of the third day, the stakeout detail met in the squad room as usual and then left to take up their regular assigned positions. 7:35 a.m.
How about it, Joe? You ready to go?
Yeah, just a minute. Okay, let's go. I'll get it.
Okay.
Robbery Friday. Yeah. Where? When was that? Yeah, right away. Oh, come on, we gotta hurry.
What is it?
Market bandits. Maybe we got them. 7:50 a.m. Ben and I arrived at the intersection of 58th and San Pedro Street. 2 of our stakeout cruiser cars were pulled up at the southwest corner. One of the teams was Jess Gonzalez and his partner, Frank Estrada. Gonzalez briefed us on what had happened.
Victim's the owner of the supermarket down the block in San Pedro. He was walking from his house to the store, and he passed the corner here about 7:35 a.m. Had $340 on him. Part of yesterday's receipts from the store. They got him right up the street there, took every dollar of it.
You sure it was a market bandit?
MO description, they checked out all the way. We had 2 teams on as soon as we got the word. Located the holdup car a minute ago.
Where is it?
Down on Avalon Boulevard.
Well, how about the thieves, Jeff?
Car was empty, no trace of him.
It's a very good aerobic exercise to play John Adams music.
David Howard, clarinetist, Los Angeles Philharmonic.
His music is all about locomotion. He uses the orchestra as a machine, in the best sense. And we are little pistons in this engine. But boy, when all those pistons are working right, it's quite an effect.
Join David and the entire Los Angeles Philharmonic for an electrifying concert experience as composer John Adams conducts 2 of his own works, the Nixon tapes, and Century Rolls, featuring celebrated pianist Emanuel Axe. 3 performances beginning February 2nd. Tickets start at just $10 and are available at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion box office, online at laphil.org, or call Ticketmaster today at 213-365-3500. Los Angeles Philharmonic.
This is music that you can measure in megawatts. We've got a musical answer to the energy crisis coming with this concert.
It's been said one is a lonely number. So the 2 Paradise Chevrolet Superstores, Paradise Chevrolet Temecula, and Paradise Chevrolet Ventura have come together with what else? But 2 great offers to close out January. Now you can lease a 2001 extended cab Silverado B truck at a great lease of only $199 plus tax per month. Or lease a 2001 Chevy Tahoe at an equally great lease deal of only $299 plus tax per month from Paradise Chevrolet Ventura and Paradise Chevrolet Temecula. That's $199 plus tax per month lease on an extended cab 2001 automatic Silverado with loads of Vortec V8 power and air, or $299 plus tax per month lease on a 2001 Tahoe LS with all the bells and whistles. The Paradise 1-800-281-4412 for Paradise Chevrolet Temecula. 800-281-4412. For Paradise Chevrolet Ventura, it's 1-888-5-CHEVY-5. 888-5-CHEVY-5. Ventura Auto Center, Temecula Auto Mall.
36-month Silverado lease with $6,200 down and 36-month Tahoe lease with $7,000 down. Both leases on approval of credit. 12K allowable miles per year, 20 cents for each excess mile. Chevy will be there.
Only weeks ago, News Radio.
Saturday, 8:05 a.m. The latest victim of the market bandits, the owner of the supermarket on San Pedro Street, was taken to the 77th Street Division where the crime report was made. He told us that one of the men who robbed him bore a very close resemblance to the composite picture which we'd had drawn up of one of the suspects. We figured we missed grabbing the hold-up men by a matter of minutes. Even though some of our units were in the general area at the time of the robbery, it did little good. The victim had delayed reporting the hold-up for a full 5 minutes because the bandits had threatened to find him and kill him if he did. Despite the fact that they'd changed their M.O. to the extent of robbing the store owner on the street instead of in the market proper, we had no doubt that the same 2 men we were looking for had committed the hold-up. The abandoned car which they'd used in the robbery was gone over for fingerprints, but it was clean. Meantime, the stakeout went on. Saturday passed. Sunday, Monday, nothing. No leads on the suspects, not a trace of them. Tuesday, the same thing all over again. The operation settled down to a dull routine. Tuesday night, we checked the closing of the last market in our stakeout area. 10:45 p.m. Ben and I drove back to the 77th Street Division.
Every day seems to get a little longer. These lousy stakeouts sure don't wear very well on them.
Yeah, I don't know what the staff's going to be if we don't get a break pretty soon. We can't hang on to the gang for Metro Division forever.
Sure has been a bad month. All I need now is a visit from the in-laws. That'd do it up fine.
You talked to Jess at dinner, didn't you?
Yeah.
What do you say about those 2 men they picked up on South Main this afternoon?
They brought them in for processing, checked them out, couldn't find anything wrong. Both of them clean.
Mm-hmm. Fine.
Yeah. How about grabbing something to eat after we check out?
Okay. You want to stop by Johnny Coken?
What about a French dip sandwich? How's that sound? Haven't had one for a long time.
All right, suits me.
How was that? Oh, sorry, I know. Oh, wait a minute. He just came in. It's for you, Friday. Turn in from the sheriff's office.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Bob. Friday talking. Yeah, Dick. Just now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll be over right away.
You got anything?
Market bandits pulled a hold up a couple of minutes ago. Store on Graham Avenue, out in county territory.
Yeah?
One of the sheriff's units took the call, chased the hold-up car 2 miles.
They get the thieves?
Well, you're half right.
Huh?
They got one of them. 10:52 p.m. Ben and I drove to the sheriff's Firestone substation where the market bandit suspect was taken after his apprehension. When we got there, we talked to Deputy Sheriff Sergeant Eddie Jones and Mel Viney, who had made the arrest. They said they arrived at the scene of the holdup, the market on Graham Avenue, a few moments after the bandits pulled away in their stolen Nash sedan. Jones and Viney gave chase, but when they finally forced the holdup car to a halt, the driver was the only one in the car. Somewhere along the route of the 2-mile chase, the second robbery suspect had succeeded in jumping out, along with the loot taken in the robbery and making good his escape. A broadcast in the bulletin was gotten out immediately. The holdup suspect they'd apprehended had been fingerprinted, and they were checking on his identification downtown. Ben and I went in to talk to him. Jones and Viney stood by while we questioned him.
I still don't know what it's all about.
Property clerk will give you an itemized receipt for everything you have on you. Take everything out of your wallet now. Put it out in the table.
You're making a pretty big thing out of nothing, aren't you? I haven't done anything.
You want to check those things from his wallet, Ben? The cards, some of those papers?
Yeah.
This your true name on this card here? Grant V. Jameson, is that right?
That's right.
This your present address?
Yeah?
You ever been arrested before?
Why you ask that?
It's not going to take too much time to find out. You might as well tell us.
We still don't know what this is all about. I was speeding a little, that's all. I haven't done anything.
Now, you're kidding yourself, Jameson. We got everything on you that we need. What do you think you're going to gain by stalling us?
You must have me mixed up with somebody else. I don't know what you're getting at.
This card here you took out of your wallet, you recognize it?
Why?
These names and addresses you've got jotted down on the back of it. Mind checking them out for?
I don't know what you mean.
Take a look. These here. Whose addresses are they? Who are the people?
Let's see. No, I don't think I even remember. Just something I scribbled down, that's all.
You don't even remember one of them?
No, I don't think so. Why do you ask?
Why don't you come off it, mister?
What are you talking about?
You know what we're talking about. You know it as well as you know your own name. 14 robberies down here in 28 days. You're picked up in the hold-up car after the last try tonight. Your partner gets away. Now, you go right on kidding yourself, Jameson. Play it real close. You see how far it gets you.
I sure wish I knew what you were talking about. I don't know a thing about any robberies.
All right, then you stand by, mister. You're going to know a lot more about him. You're going to know a lot in a hurry.
Yeah?
Just as soon as we pick up your partner. 12:20 a.m. We continued to question the suspect, Grant Jameson, but he refused to admit anything. Even the fact that he'd stolen the car that he'd been apprehended in. The only strong lead we could pick out from the articles found on his person was the list of 4 names and addresses jotted on the back of a card found in his wallet. 12:30 a.m. Ben and I left the substation and drove to the address Jameson had told us was his present residence, an apartment house on Vernon Avenue. The manager told us he'd moved at least a year ago without leaving a forwarding address. 1 a.m., we began checking out the list of 4 names and addresses which we'd found in the suspect's wallet. The first was a Jack Williams. His address, a Spring Street rooming house. The landlady told us he'd moved to Cleveland, Ohio 3 months before. The second was a John Gallagher. His address, a third-rate hotel in East Hollywood. He hadn't been registered there in the past 2 months. The third was a Matthew Sanford. His address turned out to be an apartment house in the Crenshaw district.
Want a price to light on the mailboxes over here, Joe?
Yeah. Here you go. You see the name there?
Yeah, here it is. M.L. Sanford. That ought to be at apartment 5.
All right. Let's try it.
Front door open? Hey. Yeah, let's go. Number 5. Should be down this way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5.
Okay, let's give it a try. Grant, that you?
Police officers. You Matthew Sanford?
Get out of here. All right, hit it, Ben. All right, come on. Put the gun down. Drop it.
I got it, Joe. All right, get your hands out.
I'll cover it. Look around, huh?
All right.
What is this anyway? What's the idea? You tell us. You pulled the gun. You got no business in here. You got no right. All right, you just stand still. We'll explain it downtown.
Money sacks, Joe. Found them in the desk. Same market they hit tonight.
All right, Sanford. You got nothing from me. I don't know what you're talking about. Get his coat, will you, Ben?
Yeah, all right.
What are you trying to build, anyway? You haven't got anything on me? 14 robberies, mister. That's what we got on you. You think you got proof? We got it. Yeah? 14 victims. Come on, let's go.
The story you have just heard was the name of the innocent.
Bandit suspects Grant Burton Jameson and Matthew Roy Sanford were tried and convicted on 14 counts of first-degree robbery and received sentences as prescribed by law. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary from 5 years to life. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Johnny Modero, Pier 23. You know, it doesn't pay to buy a fast car in San Francisco because most of the time you got to be in low gear. The town is laid out like the profile of a chorus line, and the only time it flattens out is where it runs into the bay. The waterfront goes from south of the ferry building out past the China docks, and on a clear day you can see them batting baseballs over on Alcatraz. Pier 23 is over toward the left field side, and not far from there you'll find Johnny Madero's boat shop, my place. Oh, I rent boats, and I do anything else that means long odds and short hours. It's a way to make a living. And if you never save enough to get married, at least you got enough to leave town. Maybe I should have left town Monday afternoon. I bought a paper, and I read about a build-up on a heavyweight fight in L.A. I stopped in at Lofty's, and the boys said neither one of those fighters could beat an egg with a power drill. About 3 o'clock, I started down Post Street when I spotted a new auction house. It was small, with enough dough-changing hands to buy back Manhattan Island. Inside it was packed, and up on a wooden stand, a bald-headed guy was selling everything but his suspenders. So I sat down in back, and I noticed a girl standing up against the wall. She was wearing dark green sunglasses, but the rest of her was just about as secret as a plow on the bathroom floor. Her hair was the color of midnight, and her dress was made of the kind of goods you buy from spiders. After a while, she walked over to me. Right away, she started to get nervous. When you look like her, you got a right to be.
Mind if I sit down?
They're your legs, lady. If you want to rest them, rest them.
Thanks. You seem to like the view.
Just temporary. I'm leaving.
Will you get excited if I ask you to stay?
Are you going to be proud if I do?
Please, I want you to do me a favor. It won't take long. It'll be a small one.
How small?
They're going to auction off a black leather suitcase in a few minutes. It belongs to me. I must have it back.
You speak the language, do your own bidding, huh?
I don't want someone to know I'm here. It's important. I'll pay you $50 to bid for it.
You just hired me.
Just start bidding and keep on bidding till you get that suitcase. I want it at any price.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's a special item of interest. A black leather suitcase. Arrived yesterday. Contents unknown. It's handsome, it's beautiful. It's never been opened. Now, who's got sporting blood? The leather alone is worth at least $25, and it's heavy, it's heavy. It could be full of bricks, and it could be full of gold. That's what makes it interesting. Now, who's going to start the bidding? Who's going to start it off with a big one? $2. Oh, come on. That's an insult. $2? Who'll give 15? $10. 10. Who'll give 30? 10. Who'll give 30?
Start pitching for our team, mister.
$25.
50.
Double it.
100.
100. The man in the gallery bids 100. You heard him, folks. 100. Who'll give 2? 200. 200.
You got competition, lady.
I got you. Keep doubling.
400.
400. That man in the gallery's got second vision. He knows what the suitcase is worth. The bid's 400. Who'll give 800? 4. Who'll give 8?
800.
800. The man in front here says 8. Who'll give 1,000? The bid's 800. Who'll give 1,000?
Go ahead. Surprise the man.
The OPA won't like this.
You're working for me now. Make it 1,000.
1,000.
1,000. The man in back bids $1,000. Who'll give 1,500? 1,000. Who'll give 1,500? All right. 1,000 once. 1,000 twice. 1,000 for the third and last time. Oh, through bidding. Show it to the men in the gallery. Please come up and pay this price now.
Here's the money. Pick it up and come back. I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
And don't let him open it. Whatever you do, don't let him open it.
It's your party, lady. I won't even let him peek.
There's the lucky man coming down the aisle now. Give him room. Here he is, and here's your suitcase, mister. Want to open it and tell the folks what's inside?
Yeah, what's in it, man?
Just one of my relatives. Here's the dough.
Yeah, sure, all right. Now we have another item here.
Sorry, son, I was just going for the empty seat.
Yeah, we'll wait for your blockers next time, Pop. Where's the girl, the brunette with the dark glasses?
It's a jail term, son. I don't follow him home anymore.
Well, she was here a minute ago. You must have seen her leave.
No.
Think about it. She must have walked right past you. Think about it.
No, son, when you get to be my age, you don't even do that.
I felt kind of silly, the same way you do when you find a hole in your sock at the shoe store. But it wasn't my dough that bought that case, so I couldn't beef much. When I got back to the office, I started working on the lock with the key. The case was made of plain black leather, and it was kicked around more than Minnie's gong. Then I opened it. A shiny-looking saxophone was laid out in 3 parts. For $1,000, you can buy a whole brass section. So I went through each piece looking for a reason. There was a paper box inside the case. It had a gross of reeds in it. Same kind you find on the mouthpiece of any saxophone. I couldn't do much more, so I wrapped up the case and put it up in my closet. Then the door opened, and if trouble had a face, this was the way it looked in the morning. He stood there in the middle of the room, and his eyes held me like a fly at the end of two needles. You noticed his eyebrows. They were bushy and thick, and if they got any worse, he'd have to hire a native guide.
Hello, are you Modero?
That's my story. You got a better one?
It's sadder than yours. I'm the guy you left behind at the auction. Who are you bidding for?
Who are you asking for?
Myself.
Well, suppose we get real friendly. What's your name?
Dunlap, Larry Dunlap. Now, introduce me to the girl who was coaching you.
All right. She was a souped-up brunette with a disappearing act. Now, what does that prove?
Unless you find her in the cemetery, never trust a woman. Especially Claire Underwood.
Yeah. What do you want from me?
I'll take that black leather suitcase you won at the auction.
Look, I saved you some dough. Don't make a pig of yourself. Try to be nice.
I will. I won't kick you when you're dead. Where's that suitcase? You're making me nervous.
So if you got an itch, see a doctor. What makes you so big?
Vitamins. I know all about the sax, Modero. It belongs to me. Give it to me or I start looking.
You better have a license. A sax isn't that important.
It is to me. Maybe I want to start a hot shop.
I'll hold out for your girlfriend. She owes me $50 and I need the dough.
I'll double anything she gives you.
If you made money, give me a hint.
Will $100 do?
Yeah. The sax is in the closet on top here. Come on. Give me a hand. Give me a hand.
Oh, sure. You've got a hand, Modero. Now play it out.
Some days you're not going to make out any better than an ice cube at a cocktail party. When Dunlap hit me, I folded up and my head got the size of a social worker's heart. Well, I started tossing around on the rug. It took me longer to stop than it took Haig to quit Jersey. I knew that sax was gone, so there was no point in getting up. I started dreaming about that day a Cleveland bellhop gave me a key to the wrong room. It was going all right, too, until somebody began shaking me. In that small room, I didn't have to look up to know who it was, because Inspector Warcheck of San Francisco Homicide is the kind of guy you stand next to in a hurricane and wonder what happened to the ventilation.
Making a wish, Modero?
Yeah, here, so it didn't come true. What are you collecting?
Alibis. What's yours for last night at 12 o'clock?
That wasn't bad.
You got a witness?
No, you can't win them all.
Yeah, that's the way a guy named Charlie Reiser felt.
So maybe it's an epidemic.
So maybe you started it. Someone shot him dead. The guy was a musician.
Try some of the neighbors.
I'll try you first.
You're reaching, Warcheck. I never even heard of the guy.
Oh, that's a handicap, Modero. Maybe you just heard of his instrument, huh?
All right, let me guess. It was a sax.
Hey, you're very bright. An auctioneer helped me trace it down to you. Now, what's the pitch?
A wild one, Warcheck. A dame forced me to do her a favor.
Uh-huh. I bet you force easy.
She paid me to bid for the sax and then took a powder after I won it.
You got an active memory. Does it include a name?
Yeah. Claire Underwood. Run it down and see what it gets you.
Oh, now stop threatening me, Modero. I think that sax is tied in with the murder. Now, where is it?
You're a little late. A torpedo named Larry Dunlap just walked in and sapped me for it.
Yeah? How hard did he sap you, Modero? There's a pool of blood behind your desk, and it doesn't look like yours. How'd it get there?
I don't know, Warcheck. Maybe somebody got lost and figured it was a blood bank. How do I know?
Yeah. Maybe they thought it was a morgue, too. Left the body. Now look around.
Yeah, do that. Look under the rug, too. Maybe the guy was thin.
All right, Modero. So far, you're in the clear. But if there's blood, there must be a body close by. It'll show. When it does, we'll turn it in for yours.
I'll remember.
Like you remember that $1,000?
Huh?
The auction house, Modero. The $1,000 you gave the joint got homesick and left.
I'm broke, Warcheck. You'll have to stand on your head to pin this on me.
Maybe I will.
Maybe you're right. I forgot about your head. Once Warcheck sticks to you, you might as well try to pull a mustard plaster off a throw rug. He stood there for a minute blinking at the light, and you could see big pebbles of sweat standing out on his forehead. He took a handkerchief out of his pocket, and when it came down, it was wet enough to wash all the windows in lower Manhattan. After a while, he walked out. I watched him out of the window. I tried to figure how I got into this. It was like trying to trace back a conversation to see what word started it. There were lots of questions and not too much time. Why was a saxophone in a grocer Reed's worth all that dough? And who left his blood on my rug as a deposit? The girl must have known what was in the case, but why did she leave it with me? Oh, I couldn't make it add up, so I looked up the only good guy I know, a waterfront priest named Father Leahy. He knows most of the bad boys around the piers, and he's heard enough sins to start an art colony. Around Lofty's, they got his name above the line, and that's a tough trick because along the waterfront an archangel couldn't get a cup of coffee without hucking a wing. I found him over at the Parrish house having dinner.
Hello, Johnny. You want some wine?
No, thanks, Father.
That's one of the good things about this job. You get wine with your meals.
Yeah, I know.
Except you got to watch out. I knew a guy in the seminary liked to eat between meals.
Yeah.
But the bishop fixed him.
He sent him to a rich parish, and the guy had to throw away half his sermons.
I'm in trouble, Father.
Did you buy elevator shoes, or is that a bump on your head?
Somebody knocked me down when I wasn't looking.
Did you get the license number?
It just felt like a truck. I got hit with a club. That's why I want you to help me, Father.
Johnny, you misinterpret my mission in life. You need a policeman. I'm only a priest. Besides, I'm eating.
Look, Father, homicide wants to tack a murder on me.
There goes my appetite. Who's dead? Anybody I could have helped?
His name was Charlie Reiser. He was a musician.
If he's going in the right direction, he may get some work. How did you meet him?
I didn't. I never heard of the guy. It was all a surprise to me.
Sounds more like a shock.
I got a bum shake from the start, Father. A gal with a big purse promised to pay me something if I'd bid for a black suitcase at an auction.
What was the matter with her? Laryngitis?
She was trying to keep somebody from noticing her, but she must have weakened in the final stretch.
What do you mean?
I won the bid with $1,000, but when I came back, the gal was gone.
And you were left holding the bag. What was in it?
A saxophone and a gross of reeds. You could buy the whole outfit with a $5 down payment.
What makes it worth $1,000?
I don't know, Father. The sax belonged to Charlie Reiser. A guy named Dunlap offered me $200 for it.
All that money for a saxophone, and they wouldn't allow me $40 on that old organ.
Dunlap slugged me when my back was turned and piled up a lead.
Did the sax go for free?
Somebody paid for it. When I woke up, there was a lot of blood on the floor.
Yours?
It was unclaimed, but I have an idea a body's going to turn up without it.
You have nothing but murder on your mind, Johnny. Why don't you settle down with a good book?
If Warcheck tags me, I'll have to borrow yours, Father. Right now, I need you to check on a few people for me.
Sure, but I'll need a couple of names for them first.
You know a lot of the combo boys, Father. Check up on Charlie Reiser's friends, especially his women, and find out where Larry Dunlap fits in. Will you do it, Father?
Yes, Johnny, I'll do it. But if I find out you're calling them wrong, I'll drop over to Warcheck's side.
Thanks, Father. If you help me out of this, you're a good guy. You're an angel.
But stop pushing me. I'm not that anxious yet.
When I left Father Leahy, I ran over my leads. You could have counted them on one finger, and you'd still have to cheat. The only guy worth looking up was the auctioneer on Eddy Street. Maybe that was all revenge. Why did he tell Warcheck that I took that $1,000 back? Well, I figured I'd find out, so I grabbed a cab back to his store. When I got there, the joint was locked up, but a big neon sign blinked the name J.C. Cole. There was another light coming from the back, so I followed it down. Inside, Cole was working over his cash register tape. I didn't knock, and right away he started making funny noises in his throat. I noticed he was wearing a vest without a tie, and his sleeves were rolled up with big rubber bands. His elbows stuck out, and they were red and knotted up like a baby's face with cramps. And then he made his opening bid.
It's a little late. What can I sell you, mister?
A straight story.
Huh?
The one you told headquarters had too many frills.
Hey, wait a minute. You're the same fellow who bought that suitcase.
You got a good head, friend. How good is it on robbery?
It was dark. I thought it was you, so I called the cops.
You started fast, but you're fading in the stretch.
$1,000 was gone. I figured you took your money back.
That's an early mistake. It wasn't my dough.
You sound like you're mad. Is that a gun in your pocket, huh?
If it makes you talk about that suitcase, I'll say yes.
I don't know what you mean. I said you were taking your chances. A ton of bricks, a ton of gold. Remember, I got to make a living, you know.
You don't have to crowd the mint. What gives a sax a $1,000 price tag?
I don't know, I tell you. I don't know a thing.
Yeah, well, we'll go into politics later. I think you're lying.
It was just another suitcase, an old leather suitcase with a sax inside. I just tell you, I don't know a thing.
Yeah, keep it up, fella. You'll tell me everything that way. Now, how did you know there was a sax in that case if you never opened it?
Well, now, listen, mister, let's be friends. I got a little money. Let's be friends.
Go on.
I was just trying to get a little ahead. I got a wife and a kid, a big kid, so I switched saxophones. I took out the original sax with the reeds and put in an older one.
What'd you do with the original?
It was a pretty nice one, brand new, so I sold it to someone, Reeds and Roll, for $200.
You're slowing down. Who's someone, a relative?
He's a friend named Bud Overbeck. He plays tenor sax at the Downbeat Club. That original was something special, huh?
Yeah, you should have held out for $1,000 on both ends.
Now, listen, fella, Bud's a friend, a good friend on my wife's side. You won't hurt him, will you?
I'll send you a pint if he believes.
Yeah, sure. I'll save it. Anything else, huh?
Yeah. Stop stuttering. You'll give that kid of yours a complex. When he opened the door, you could tell he wanted to shake me worse than a summer cold. I didn't like him any better, but he'd given me something solid to work on. So I got over to the club Downbeat. It's a jazz cellar that warms over King Oliver at 6 bits a throw. 5-piece combo was writing a chorus slow and easy, and you knew the only notes they ever read were on IOUs. There were a dozen or so jazz fans huddled around the bandstand, and if you looked real close at their faces, you saw something that looked like pain. I asked the bartender who Overbeck was, and He pointed out the blonde kid with a face made of warm putty playing a black saxophone. I walked backstage to a small dressing room where the boys grabbed their second wind with a short one. When I opened the door, Claire Underwood stood there holding her breath.
Hello, Johnny. You look angry. Put away those daggers,
I will, baby. I'll guess that you killed Reiser for a saxophone.
Guess again. Why should I kill anyone for a sax?
Tell me why it's worth $1,000, and I'll answer that one, too.
All right, Johnny. I'm sentimental. Say Charlie Reiser was my boyfriend, and I wanted to keep his sax as a memory.
Must have been quite a memory, baby.
You didn't meet Charlie.
But I did meet Larry Dunlap. He wanted the sax, too. Why?
How would I know, Johnny? Maybe he was taking lessons.
They weren't that kind. He has too good a lip.
So have I. Only I use it differently.
All right, stop puckering, sweetheart. I want some sense now.
Please, Johnny, if you leave now, I'll give you double what I owe you from the auction.
That's not enough. Look, baby, count up your bills and tell me what a murder rap is worth, huh?
We'll haggle over it later, Johnny. Just meet me at the Ajax Hotel, and I promise you'll get a better figure.
Yeah. You going to add some interest?
Come here, and I'll show you what I mean.
I'm not running a service. I need some answers. Come on. I want some action. Come on.
And use your arms, Johnny.
You got too big a mouth, baby. Somebody's going to close it on you.
Show me, Johnny.
All right.
The music stopped, Johnny.
What do you care? We're not dancing.
Johnny, please, you're squeezing me too tight.
Yeah, it's a bad habit. Now tell me about that sax.
Listen to me, Johnny. I told you I got to see Overbeck first. I'll tell you everything later.
Yeah, after you talk Overbeck out of his sax, huh?
Yes. Is it a deal?
You're too anxious to sign. I'll talk to Overbeck myself.
All right, Johnny. I'll help you get him here quicker.
Yeah? What are you going to do?
Scream, Johnny. Scream. Listen.
Louder, baby. You'll really need it in a minute.
Hey, what's the matter? What's she screaming about, mister?
She couldn't catch me.
This man's drunk. He was trying to snatch my purse.
Is that true, mister?
Call a cop and find out.
Yeah, I will.
No, please, don't bother. Just get him out. Just throw him out, Mr. Overbeck.
You heard the lady, mister? Do I get rough?
Save your strength, Overbeck. You'll need it later. Claire had a nice act, if you didn't mind playing straight man to a vulture. She draped herself on Overbeck's arm, and she looked as cool as a vacation in Maine. As I walked out, Overbeck was still showing his teeth, but it didn't matter because you got the idea he wasn't strong enough to fight off a sneeze. Well, there wasn't much I could do except wait for Claire to show. But it started to drizzle, so I figured my best bet was her hotel. In the lobby, a rose-colored carpet with a touch of yellow jaundice led to the desk. The clerk told me she hadn't come in yet, but for $5 he could tell I was a friend. He gave me her key. I went upstairs, and when I opened Claire's door, I knew something was wrong. A lot of towels were thrown all over the floor, and everything was gone from the closet but the mothballs. Claire had skipped, and before I could walk out, Dunlap walked in. One hand was in his pocket, and the other had enough tape to wrap up a mummy.
Can I come in, Modero?
You're old enough, Dunlap. Make up your own mind.
I have. Where's Claire?
You're early. I think she's still busy.
Give me a magazine. I'll wait.
It'll be a long one. I'm not hanging around.
Oh, the fun's just beginning. Sit down.
Sit down. I guess I am tired.
Yeah, this gun makes everybody drowsy. Now, what's your time with Claire?
Nothing that's deep-rooted. Are you writing a column?
Yeah, the obituary, and you're going to make the morning deadline.
You're too cocky, Dunlap. Don't turn your back.
I won't. Claire blew her chance. The best she could do was this arm.
Yeah, you ruined my carpet.
When they pass your cup around, I'll be generous. In the meantime, you're going to stick around until Claire brings that black saxophone.
I hope she's got some food in the icebox.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're waiting for that sax, we're going to starve to death. Claire's not going to show.
What makes you a prophet?
A guy named Bud Overbeck. He had the sax last, and Claire was working him over for it.
I'll work you over for less. What are the rest of her plans?
She was warm. Maybe she left a smoke signal.
All right. You're getting too stubborn.
Put away the gun, Dunlap. You can only use one arm.
I'll clean the bases with this index finger. Pick a spot to fall.
Hey, don't clutter up the floor now, Dunlap. We got company.
Hey, what's this, the wrong room? Claire said we'd be alone.
We are. Just the three of us.
Who's he, Modero?
Huh? What are you talking about? Claire told me to come here. She told me to wait for her.
Look, fella, save your lip for another chorus. Just tell me where she left you.
I don't feel so good. She was at the Downbeat Club. She was helping me put my sax away. I just came up here to wait. We were going to be alone.
All right, fella. I'm cutting down the crowd. You with Modero now? I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm going home, too. I feel sick. I'm going home.
You'll never make it on your knees. What's the matter?
I don't know. I guess I gave the new horn too big a ride tonight. I got a weak heart.
Your eyes aren't too strong either. You're walking right into that closet.
They told me not to play so hard. Maybe I played too hard. Help me, fella. You look familiar. I seen you somewhere, huh? You look fuzzy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel sick. Someone must have slipped me something. I I never felt like this before. I'm sick. Real sick.
You'll never get any sicker, fella. Overbeck was dead even before he had a chance to see if Gabriel paid his boy's scale. He hit the floor and turned over on his back, and you figured he'd cross the River Jordan with a backstroke. I got a good look at him now. His face was all twisted up like bed sheets after a nightmare, and up near his hairline, a long, thin scar ran into his scalp. Well, I didn't know what killed Overbeck, but whatever it was, he didn't get 2 weeks' notice. I figured if homicide caught me here, I'd get my walking papers, too, right down to the last 20 feet. I started for the door, but Warchick opened it for me. He looked at the body and then over to me.
You on a spree, Modero?
If you're footing the bill, Warchick?
The state will from now on. Now tell me about the guy on the floor.
He's dead.
Must have had parents. What's his name?
Bud Overbeck. He was a musician, the Downbeat Club.
Yeah. Tell me some more.
Roll him, Warchick. Maybe he's got a diary.
Here's his wallet. All right, Modero. How long you been here?
Why?
The wallet's empty.
Well, that's too bad. Your girlfriend's going to have to get along with last week's presents.
I trail a guy named Dunlap up to this apartment, and I find you and a dead body. Now, there's a tie, any way you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just what happened?
I don't know, Warchick. I didn't see the picture. I just tagged by for the end, you know?
Must have been a sad one. I think he's poisoned. Don't like the look in his eyes.
Get the girl who put it there.
Well, just give me a hint. Huh?
Overbeck was playing caveman with Claire Underwood before he came up here.
What does that give him besides hair?
Maybe a Mickey. When I left, she was warming up an argument for his saxophone.
She get it?
She didn't. Dunlap's losing man hours. He just walked out here, and I think she's in his list.
Yeah. I'm beginning to get an idea now myself.
Does it hurt?
You and the Underwood girl are running some kind of a racket with that saxophone. She left you behind her front for it.
You haven't seen her, Warchick. She doesn't need that kind of help.
But you will when I get through checking. Still got a few calls to make. I want the lab to work over the body. By then I'll have enough to come back and hold you, Modero.
You couldn't hold a lapdog with a suction pump.
All right, big shot. I'll go a long way to get you for this. A long way.
You got the drag, Warchick.
Yeah. It's going to slow you down a little.
Warchick wanted to mother the body until the coroner came, and when I left, he was squeezing himself into a chair. He fit tighter than a whale in a crib. You could word it any way you liked, but the big riddle was that saxophone. Claire had it, and Dunlap wanted it, and a couple of guys died for it. My only alibi was Dunlap, but you might as well ask Con to hold still for Lewis. I buzzed back to the office, but there was no message from Father Leahy, so I stared out the window for a while, wondering how to bake a cake with a dynamite charge when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Johnny. This is Father Leahy.
What'd you find out, Father?
It's not pleasant, Johnny. I'm down at the morgue. The lab report on Bud Overbeck just came in.
He died of poisoning, huh, Father?
The bitter kind. Overbeck's heart couldn't stand all that dope. Coroner found a used saxophone reed in Overbeck's pocket. It was soaked in hop.
So that's what made that saxophone so big. The grosser reeds.
That's right, Johnny. Overbeck was absorbing the stuff while he played. He probably never knew what hit him.
Well, what about Reiser? How does he figure?
Reiser was making his pin money peddling dope to nightclubs. He was getting his shipments from Mexico.
How did Claire and Dunlap figure?
There were a couple of partners who wanted to ease out Reiser and go into business for themselves.
The idea must have gone to Claire's head. She's doing a solo now, and Dunlap thinks she has the sax.
Warchick feels the same way about you, Johnny. He's out to tag you for everything.
He's smarter than that.
I don't know him that well. But it adds up in his book because he thinks you're leaving town. Someone's booked a passage on the 2 a.m. plane from Mexico this morning in the name of J. Modero.
I'm being jockeyed, Father. It's either Claire or Dunlap. They're both as black as sin.
Maybe so, but Warchick still thinks you're the dark horse.
Up until now, it was like trying to sell a toupee to a bald-headed eagle. But when the turn comes, everything happens in a hurry, and you began breaking more records than a disc jockey with a hangover. If Father Leahy was right, Claire or Dunlap had enough dreams in that saxophone to start a waltz contest, and I knew if they both got out of town, Warchick would be around to tag me for the last dance. So I got out to Mills Field, and out on the far end of the strip, a twin-engine plane was warming up. Claire was standing with her back toward me, and even from here you could see what a stiff tailwind could do to a landing gear. When she saw me, she raised her eyebrows and figured her temperature was even higher.
Sorry I had to borrow your name, Johnny.
You're too small for it, baby.
I got a big ego.
And that gun bolsters it, huh?
That's my story.
Well, tell it to homicide. They'll take a nibble on either you or Dunlap.
Better throw him Dunlap. I got a date in Mexico City.
It's a blind one, baby. You're going in the wrong direction.
Larry, what are you doing here? I thought you
I want those reeds, baby.
He'll be peddling pencils when I'm through with you.
I'll leave the sights, too, baby. I'll be lonely.
You won't need that kind of music where you're going, Larry.
You're the ones that talk, baby. I trusted you. We were going to do this together. I trusted you.
We all make mistakes. You got the short end.
I'll stretch it a little. You got another chance. Let's team up again.
Sorry, Larry. I'm crowding you out.
You only think so.
Now get out of my way. I got to make the plane.
Make it brave first. I want that stuff.
I won't miss again. Stay away, Larry.
Put up a sign.
Yeah.
You missed again. Give me the gun.
No, I'm selfish. I'll hold on. Pull him off me, Modero. Pull him off.
There's a law.
All right, baby. You run out of chances. It's my turn now.
No. Please, Larry. Put the gun away. You win. I'll split it with you now. You win. Honest, Larry, you win.
Just to show you I agree.
You're through, guy. Drop the gun.
Yeah. What are the odds of my getting away in that plane?
70-30, maybe.
Things are too tough at 50-50. Come on, I'll ride downtown with you.
Well, Dunlap told the whole story down at headquarters. It seems that Reiser, Claire, and he were buying dope from Mexico and peddling it here in the form of soaked-up reeds. Reiser was contact man in Mexico, but the only way they knew him down there was by his black saxophone. Claire and Dunlap decided to narrow the profits down to 2 by shooting Reiser and taking over. Claire used the gun, and, well, that started her to thinking that she could do even better with a single act. She needed that black sax, though. Reiser got wind of it and hid the sax with the reeds in the basement. His landlady found it after he was tumbled and sold it to that auction house. And Claire had me buy it and then followed me back to the office where she tried to peg down Dunlap. The sax she took turned out to be a phony because the auctioneer had already sold the black one to Bud Overbeck. The track was switched to him, but not soon enough. Overbeck didn't know the reeds were loaded, and after an all-night jam session, he folded up with a heart attack. Well, Warchek asked only one question. Wasn't it tough luck for an innocent guy like Overbeck? I don't know. At least there was one time he played right out of this world.
Johnny Modero, Pier 23, starring Jack Webb as Johnny Modero, has been presented by the Mutual Network. Johnny Modero is written by Herb Margolis and Lou Morheim. Gail Gordon played Father Leahy, and Bill Conrad played Inspector Warchek of Homicide. Others in the cast were Helene Burke, Bob Holton, Herb Butterfield, Irvin Lee, and Herb Rollinson. Original music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman, and the entire production was directed by Nat Wolff. We invite you to listen again next week over most of these stations when Mutual presents another adventure in the life of Johnny Modero, Pier 23. Tony Lafrano speaking.
This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight in Miami, Florida, a group of men are gathered together for their annual conference. For their day-in, day-out service to the public, Dragnet honors the 58th annual conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. The story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A wealthy retired businessman suddenly disappears. You've got 2 possibilities to work on: suspicion of suicide, suspicion of foul play. There's no lead to the man's whereabouts. Your job? Find him. The latest Fatima sales report shows thousands and thousands of king-size cigarette smokers are switching to Fatima.
More and more smokers coast to coast are finding in Fatima the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You'll find Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Next time, insist on the best. Buy king-size Fatima in the distinctive golden yellow package.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 6th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 11:18 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Joe?
Hi. She show up yet?
Yeah, a couple of minutes ago. She's waiting for us now in the next room.
Did you talk to her at all?
No. Seems to be a nice enough woman. I don't know how much help she's going to be.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks.
Miss Banner, I'd like to have you meet my partner, Sergeant Friday. Joe, this is Miss Banner.
Hello. I'm sorry I wasn't home when you stopped by yesterday, Sergeant. I got the card you left, so I called in as soon as I got home.
Well, thanks for coming in, Miss Banner. We have a few questions we'd like to ask you. It won't take very long.
We have a communication from a Gladys Dillon back in New York, Miss Banner. It's about her brother, Chester Dillon. We understand you rented his home from him out on Ralston Avenue.
Mr. Dillon? Well, yes, I got a 2-year lease on the house. I rented it from him last November.
Well, according to the letter we got from Mr. Dillon's sister, she's worried about him. She hasn't heard from him in some time. Have you any idea where we could contact him?
Well, the last I heard, he left on a trip to New York. That was about 8 weeks ago, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I usually sent the check for the rent, the apartment he had here, and when he left on his trip, he told me to hold on to the rent checks, and he'd collect them when he got back.
How long did he say he'd be gone?
I don't remember definitely. I think he said 4 or 5 months.
He didn't leave any forwarding address, any place you could contact him back east?
No, he didn't. He just wanted to get away. Didn't want to be bothered with anyone. He wasn't feeling very well. He was very depressed, poor man.
Well, why was that, ma'am? Do you know?
Well, his wife died just a few months ago, you know.
No, ma'am, we didn't know. All we got from his sister was that she hadn't heard from Dillon. She was worried. She didn't give us any other information.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Dillon died in last September, I think it was. Poor man felt terrible about it. Couldn't seem to get over it. That's why he rented the house to me. Reminded him too much of her.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Lovely home they have. Mr. Dillon said he really didn't want to rent it, but he couldn't stand being alone in the house. It was a large place, you know.
Yes, ma'am. We checked with the people living in the house now. We understand you leased the place to them last month?
I subleased it, yes. You see, it just got too big for me. It was nice at first, but it got to be an awful lot of work. I rented it to this family and took a smaller house down the street.
Would you happen to know any of Mr. Dillon's friends in the city, Miss Banner? Anyone we could contact who might know where we can locate him?
No, I don't know. He didn't seem to have any friends. He and his wife had only been in the city a year before she died. He was retired, you know.
Yes, ma'am. We talked to some of the neighbors out there. They couldn't tell us much about him.
Maybe some of the people he did business with might know something. Have you tried the neighborhood bank out there? I know that's where Mr. Dillon had his account.
No, ma'am, we haven't yet.
Well, I can give you the bank's address. That's about all, though.
That's the only contact you know of?
I'm afraid so, yes. I didn't know much about Mr. Dillon's private affairs. Whenever I talked to him, it seemed the only thing he had on his mind was his wife's death. He couldn't seem to get over it. Seemed like he didn't want to get over it.
You mentioned that when you leased his home, Mr. Dillon took an apartment. Do you happen to have that address, Miss Banner?
Well, I don't have it with me now, but I have it at home. I can call in and give it to you if you like.
If you would, please.
Certainly.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Banner. You have our card. When you hear anything at all from Mr. Dillon, we'd appreciate it if you'd call us.
And surely I'll call you right away. Do you think something could have happened to him?
Well, it's possible. We don't know. All we have is a letter from his sister.
It does seem kind of strange, doesn't it? He wasn't feeling too well. I wondered why he hadn't contacted me about sending the rent money to him. He was such a nice man, Mr. Dillon. I certainly hope nothing's happened to him.
Well, you say he was very depressed about his wife's death, ma'am. Would you say that it was getting to be a little abnormal with him, maybe?
Well, I wouldn't know about that, Sergeant, but I didn't know he brooded about it all the time. He felt that he'd lost everything. Didn't seem to want to go on.
Mm-hmm. Did he ever give an indication that maybe he might take his own life? I mean, all this brooding over his wife?
Well, no, nothing definite. Just depressed and moody all the time. Oh, now that I remember it, the last time I saw him, he did say something kind of funny.
Yes, ma'am. What was that?
It was the day before he left. We were talking about the rent money, and I asked him if I couldn't send it to him. He got kind of a strange look on his face.
Yeah.
He said, where I'm going, I won't need the money.
The day before we called on Lucille Banner for an interview, a letter had been received from a Miss Gladys Dillon in Elmira, New York. Her request was routine. It was one of thousands of similar letters received every year by police departments all over the country. Each one of them has to be worked out to the satisfaction of all parties concerned, the person who's reported missing and the person looking for them. It's an enormous job requiring thousands of man-hours annually. Like the dozens of other investigations handled by the police officer, some of them end happily, some of them in tragedy. Whatever the result, the finding of a lost person is just as important a function of your local police department as any other investigation. Gladys Dillon hadn't heard from her brother recently. She was worried about him. She asked us to investigate. Our initial interview with Lucille Banner, the woman who'd rented Chester Dillon's home, failed to yield much of a lead as to his whereabouts. The only source of additional information she could offer was the neighborhood bank where Dillon had his account. 1 o'clock that afternoon, Ben and I drove out to interview the manager of the bank, a Mr. Harrison.
Yes, that's right. Mr. Dillon's had his account with us ever since he came to Los Angeles. I know him quite well. Is there something you'd like to know about him?
Yes, sir, there is. We had a request from his sister in New York. She'd like to locate him.
Well, I'm pretty sure his account's still open here. Matter of fact, I'm positive it is. This moment, I'll have one of the clerks get his file.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harrison. That reminds me, I almost forgot. Yeah, what's that? I've got to get to the bank tomorrow for sure. Payment on my car's a day past due already. Only got 2 payments left. Oh, you're doing fine. I got another 8 months to go. Not so fine. 2 more payments to go, and now the wife wants a new one. Never fails.
Here we are, Sergeant, just as I thought. Mr. Dillon's account is still open.
Uh-huh. Have there been any recent deposits or withdrawals on the account?
Let's have a look here. Uh-huh. Just as I thought, nothing since he left on his trip. That last withdrawal date was November 27th.
He mentioned to you that he was going on a trip, did he?
Yes, I think he said he was going back to New York, more or less a vacation trip. His wife died recently. He didn't take it too well.
Yes, we understand. Did he leave any instructions about his account with you, Mr. Harrison? Any address you could contact him at if you had to?
No, he didn't leave any instructions with me. No address. Just a vacation trip. He said he didn't expect to be gone too long.
Did he mention how long it would be?
5 or 6 weeks, I think that's what he said. I happened to talk to him about it because at the time he made quite a sizable withdrawal. I thought maybe he was a little unhappy with our service.
Mm-hmm. How much was the withdrawal, sir?
Let's see. And here it is, November 27th. He withdrew $2,400.
Was that in cash or in traveler's checks? Do you know that?
No, it shows here that it was in cash.
Mr. Harrison, you said a minute ago that you knew Mr. Dillon pretty well?
Yes, that's right. He used to stop and chat with me whenever he'd come in the bank. That was usually once a week. I didn't know him socially, though.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned he seemed to take his wife's death pretty hard. What would you say his mental condition was the last time you saw him?
All right, I'd say. Just after his wife's death, he wasn't in very good shape. Brooded about it quite a bit. And he began to pull out of it. Seemed to be in a fairly good frame of mind. Planned this vacation. Was looking forward to it.
I see.
Why do you ask? Is something wrong?
No, sir, not that we know of. Routine check. That's about the size of it. Does Dillon have any other real estate besides the house on Ralston Avenue? Would you happen to know that?
Not to my knowledge, no. He has no other business connections in Los Angeles. Here are all his references right here.
Mm-hmm.
See, most of them are charge accounts and so forth. I remember the time he opened his account with us, he told me he was retired. He and his wife came out here for their help.
Do they have any relatives out here? Do you know, Mr. Harrison?
No, from what I understand, both of their families are in the East. They don't have any children, according to his application. Very few relatives.
Mm-hmm. And since Dillon was in here last November to make that withdrawal, you've had no communications from him at all, is that right?
No, sir, I haven't. What seems to be the trouble? You have an idea something might be wrong?
Nothing definite, no, sir. We've been told about his feeling depressed over his wife's death, and there was some indication he might possibly have done away with himself. After what you've told us, it doesn't seem too likely.
I don't know. I wouldn't like to commit myself. As I say, he did seem to be getting over it. I didn't know him that well, though. It might be entirely possible. He was devoted to Mrs. Dillon. Maybe he could have taken his own life. I don't know.
Well, it leaves a big question to answer, doesn't it?
What's that?
Why do you need the $2,400 to do it? 1:25 p.m. We continued interviewing the bank manager, Mr. Harrison, but he was unable to come up with any further leads. Before we left the bank, he gave us a complete list of all of Chester Dillon's references. We gave him our card, and he told us he would pass along immediately any information he might get on the whereabouts of Mr. Dillon. 1:45. We went back to the office where we got a call from Lucille Banner. She gave us Dillon's last known address, and we drove out to check it. It was an apartment court in the Pico Crenshaw area. We talked to the manager, and she told us that Dillon had moved out 3 months before, on November 22nd. He told her that he was moving in with a close friend of his, and he gave her his forwarding address. It turned out to be a single-story frame cottage located in one of the older residential districts of the city. The name on the mailbox read Raymond L. Schaefer. We rang the bell, and a man who identified himself as Raymond Schaefer ushered us into a small living room. He told us that he was from the same town in the east that the Dillons came from, and that he was a long-time friend of theirs.
No, I haven't seen Chester for months. Last November, I think it was. That was the last time I saw him.
You say at that time Dillon was living in the apartment down in the Crenshaw area, Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah, that's right.
You mean he never came here to live with you?
No, it's just like I told you before. He talked about moving in here with me, but he never did. I haven't any idea where he is.
Well, he gave your name here as a forwarding address, Schaefer. Have you been getting his mail?
Yeah, matter of fact, I have. He told me he was going to do that. Never came to pick it up, though. Seemed funny to me.
You still getting his mail here, is that right?
Yeah, it's still coming. Not much of it. Maybe a letter a week. Mostly bills and advertising.
Mm-hmm. This list of names you've given us, sir, these are all the people in the East Mr. Dillon was acquainted with, people he might contact on his trip back there, is that right?
That's all of them. As far as I know, he hasn't been back there yet, though.
How do you know that?
I got a letter from my sister Gert a couple of days ago. If Chester was in town, Gert would have known about it. He would have been sure to stop by and see her. I wish I could help you. Tell you the truth, I'm getting a little worried about him myself.
Well, just have one more question, Mr. Schaefer. Do you know if Mr. Dillon was in the habit of carrying large sums of money around with him?
No, I don't think so. Chester was pretty cautious that way. He wasn't too free with a dollar, you know.
Would you happen to know if he had a large sum of money with him the last time you saw him?
No, if he did have, he didn't mention it.
I see.
You can't think of anything else that might give us a lead on Mr. Dillon's whereabouts, anything at all?
I think I've told you everything. I wish there was something I could tell you that'd help. I sure hope nothing's happened to him.
Yes, sir. Now, would you mind showing us that mail you're holding for Dillon, please?
Oh, sure, sir. Right over here. It's in the desk. There you are. That's all of it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Anything, Joe?
No, not much. Bills, circulars. There's one with a New York postmark. Elmira. Probably from his sister. Another one. Only 3 days old. From the Union Department Store. A couple more earlier dates on it. That's about it.
Yeah, I'll copy down the return addresses on it.
Fine.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah?
This suitcase by the desk here, initials on it. CLD.
Yeah?
CLD. Is that your bag, Schaefer?
Oh, no, I forgot to tell you. Chester left that here one day.
How was that?
Well, that was one day just before he was going to leave on his vacation. He brought it over here and said he'd like to leave it with me. Forgot to mention it to you.
Mm-hmm. Did you bring anything else with him?
Yeah, he brought another suitcase with him, just like this one. I got it in the other room. He said he wanted to leave him here while he was on his vacation. I'm sorry I forgot to mention it.
Well, maybe you forgot something else, Schaefer.
What?
Most people take their suitcases on a trip, don't they? 2:30 p.m. We continued questioning Raymond Schaefer. We opened the 2 suitcases labeled with the initials of Chester Dillon and found an assortment of personal items which Schaefer told us belonged to Dillon and his late wife. Small pictures, cigarette boxes, books, similar articles, which apparently would not be taken on a vacation trip. None of them were of any great value. After we left Schaefer's home, we checked him through R&I and found he had no criminal record. We checked further with friends and acquaintances of both men and found nothing to indicate that Schaefer was in any way involved in the disappearance of Chester Dillon. 3:30 p.m. We called the office and found that there'd been no answers so far to the broadcast and missing persons bulletins that we'd gotten out on Dillon. We started checking the references given us by the bank. First was the Union Department Store. It was located on Main Street in the south end of town. We checked with the credit department to see what information we could get from them.
Yes, here's the file on the Dillons right here. Chester L. and Sarah J. on Ralston Avenue.
Yes, ma'am, that's the one.
What information would you like, sir?
Well, we're trying to locate Mr. Dillon, ma'am. Have you had any recent change of address on that account?
No, we haven't. If they moved, you know.
Well, we believe so. We don't know his present address, though.
Well, we do have an outstanding bill of theirs, I noticed. Sent them several form letters. We've been trying to contact them ourselves.
Have there been any recent charges on that account, do you know?
Let's see. Nothing too recent, no. Last charge was made on December 5th. Yes, Thursday, December 5th.
That's a couple of weeks after he disappeared, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. What was that charge for, ma'am? What did Mr. Dillon buy?
Oh, Mr. Dillon didn't buy anything.
Beg your pardon?
The slip was signed by Mrs. Dillon.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. If you smoke king-size cigarettes, listen to Fatima's amazing new offer.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy their extra mildness and superbly blended tobaccos.
If you don't like Fatimas better than the king-size cigarette you are now smoking, return the pack with the unused Fatimas and we'll give you your money back, plus postage.
We make this amazing offer because we believe Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes.
Smokers all over the country are confirming this every day.
Here is the latest state-by-state report.
State 1, Fatima sales up 72%. 2, sales up 54%. 3, sales up 107%. 4, sales up 192%. And those are just a few.
Remember, if you're not convinced Fatima is better than your present king-size cigarette, just return the pack with the unsmoked Fatimas before December 1st and get your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1. Buy Fatima. Best of all king-size cigarettes.
4:15 p.m., Thursday, February 7th. As soon as the clerk in the credit department at the Union Department Store showed us the sales slip with the late Mrs. Sarah Dillon's signature on it, we had the date on the sales slip double-checked immediately. The date as shown on the slip was correct beyond any doubt, December 5th. That was a little more than 2.5 months after Sarah Dillon had died. Who the person was who forged her signature or why they'd forged it, we had no idea. The amount of the charge purchase as shown on the sales slip was for $418. All of it for women's clothing. We attempted to check with the sales girl who handled the purchase, a Laura Van Kirk, but we were told it was her day off. We called her home. They told us that she was gone for the day and couldn't be located. They said she'd be at work the following morning. 4:40 p.m., Ben and I took the sales slip with a forged signature on it and drove back to the office. We went directly to forgery detail, briefed them on our findings, and gave them the sales slip. Then we drove back to the home of the Dillon's friend, Raymond Schaefer, and checked through the 2 suitcases there. We came up with a small photo of Mrs. Dillon along with exemplars of her handwriting as well as her husband's, which we found in an autograph album in one of the suitcases. The handwriting samples were checked against the signature on the sales slip, but neither of them matched. The work of compiling a list of all known female forgery suspects was begun immediately. The following morning, Ben and I went back to the Union Department Store, where we interviewed the sales girl, Laura Van Kirk, who'd handled the purchase.
Yes, I remember making the sale, officer. I'm not too sure about the woman who bought the things, though. I mean, what she looked like.
Well, could you try to describe her for us, Miss Van Kirk, just as well as you can remember?
She had light brown hair, I'm pretty sure of that. Not too old, maybe in her late 30s, early 40s. She was a plain-looking woman, 5'5" or 6", thin as I remember her. She wore glasses, I remember that, too.
Let's see. You got that picture of Miss Dillon there, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here you are.
Would you take a look at this picture, miss? Now, does that look like the woman you waited on?
No, that's not her. The woman I waited on was much younger. She had light brown hair, too, not gray. Thin face, I think. And she wore glasses, I'm sure of that.
Do you remember if there was a man with her, Miss Van Kirk, or was she alone?
No, she was alone. Now that I remember, there was something very different about the glasses she wore. I don't know if that's important or not.
What about her glasses?
They were horn-rimmed, as I remember, very light color. And there was some metalwork along the top edge of the frame. Very smart-looking. Gold metal all along the top.
Light brown hair, slight build, thin face, late 30s or early 40s. Wore light horn-rimmed glasses and gold metal on the frame.
Yes, that's right.
Check me if I'm wrong, Joe. That description sound familiar?
Just what I was thinking.
Horn-rimmed glasses, metalwork on them. The woman who came to see us at the office?
Yeah, you got it. Lucille Banner. Ben and I went back to the office and had Lucille Banner checked through R&I. She had no criminal record. Then we drove to the home on Ralston Avenue, which Chester Dillon had leased to Lucille Banner, and which she in turn had sublet. We obtained a copy of the lease, which the Banner woman had with the current tenants, and which bore her signature. We brought the copy of the lease downtown, gave it to Don Meyer in handwriting, and asked him to compare Lucille Banner's signature with the signature on the sales slip that we'd obtained from the Union Department Store. 15 minutes later, he called us at the office with the result.
Yeah, Don. That's so. You're right. Thanks a lot.
What'd he get?
Says there's no question in his mind.
Yeah.
Both signatures match perfectly.
What the reason was behind Lucille Banner's forging the signature of Mrs. Dillon on the sales slip, we didn't know. Whether or not it had any connection with the disappearance of Chester Dillon, we didn't know. As soon as we got the handwriting report from Don Meyer, Ben and I left the office immediately and drove to the bungalow which the Banner woman was renting on Ralston Avenue. It was a block down the street from the Dillon house. Lucille Banner wasn't at home, but a neighborhood gardener trimming the lawn in front of her house told us that she was expected back shortly. The gardener, who identified himself only as Julio, volunteered that he also did gardening work for Miss Banner when she occupied the Dillon home. He'd also worked for the Dillons when they lived in the house. He told us he liked the Dillons quite a bit, but that he didn't have much use for Miss Banner. He seemed to be up on all the news in the neighborhood. He trimmed the hedges of the lawn with hand shears as we talked to him.
Can you tell us anything about Miss Dillon and Miss Banner, Julio? How'd they seem to get along, you know?
They get along all right, I guess. When I worked at the big house down there for Miss Banner, that's before she moved, I would see Mr. Dillon there. He would be at the house maybe once, 2 times a week. Miss Banner would ask him to come over and cook dinner for him.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Banner liked him, I think. Mr. Dillon, I don't know about him. He wasn't feeling so good. Still thinking about his wife. Here, I finish up this clipping now. There, all done.
You mentioned you don't like Miss Banner very much, Julio. Why is that? She ever give you a reason not to like her?
She's a little crazy, I think. Funny woman. When I used to work at the big house for her in the garden, she would watch me all the time, follow me all around, tell me to do all kind of crazy jobs. She gave me good pay, though, so I do them.
And how do you mean, Julio? What kind of crazy job?
The compost box for fertilizer, you know. She wanted me to build one for her in the backyard. That was down the street at the Dillon house.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy woman. She wanted me to build a compost box in the greenhouse. Have a special place marked for her. Whoever heard of that, to build a compost box inside a greenhouse? Crazy.
Well, did you build it for her?
Yes, but not inside the greenhouse. I built it outside, right next door to the greenhouse. When she come outside, she'd go crazy almost. Call me names. Crazy. She made me tear it up. Then she made me build it inside the greenhouse, right on the place she had marked for it.
Sounds queer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. When did all this happen, Julio? Do you remember? When you built the compost box, I mean.
A couple of months ago, about that. It was just after Mr. Dillon went away. I tried to tell Miss Banner, who ever heard of a compost box in a greenhouse? She wouldn't listen. She had to have it built in a certain place, right in the greenhouse, a little piece of ground in there. The box had to go right on top of it.
Mm-hmm. You figure she acted pretty strange about it, do you?
You think she had something there, a little piece of ground. You think she had something to hide.
1:15 p.m. Lucille Banner returned home, and Ben and I went inside the house with her, where we questioned her in the living room. Outside in the front yard, the gardener, Julio, continued working on the lawn. Lucille Banner was calm and composed. We questioned her about the forged signature on the sales slip. She would admit nothing.
The whole thing's too silly to even comment on. I don't know what you're talking about, Sergeant.
We think you do, Miss Banner. Our handwriting man's checked the 2 signatures, one on the sales slip and one on the lease. They both match. They were written by the same person. There's no doubt about it. Been checked thoroughly.
Now, what about it, Miss Banner? There's no way out of it. You ought to know that.
I'll deny it. That's all. I'll keep on denying it. I wasn't in that store and I didn't forge any signatures. Why would I do a thing like that? What kind of a woman do you think I am?
Well, all we know are the facts, ma'am. Now, why don't you give us a straight story? It's going to save time and trouble for everybody concerned.
You've heard everything I've got to say. This thing's ridiculous. It's stupid. I'm not answering any more questions.
You want to get your hat and coat, Miss Banner? Afraid you'll have to come downtown with us.
What good's that going to do? I'll just keep on denying it. You can't make me say I did a thing like that.
You want to get your coat, please?
It's right here. All right.
Yes, ma'am. Car's right out in front.
Hold it a minute, will you, Ben?
Yeah, okay.
Julio?
Yes, sir.
See you a minute?
Sure. Hello, Miss Banner.
Julio?
Favor I'd like to ask of you, Julio. You got a couple of minutes to spare?
Yeah, you want something?
We want to take a look in the backyard of the house down the street. Mr. Dillon's house. I'd like to have you come along with us, Julio. It won't take very long.
Sure, okay. I'll come along.
And bring a shovel along, will you, Julio? I'd like to check something.
Yeah, okay. I bring one.
Fine.
All right, Miss Banner.
What's this about? What are you trying to do?
Something we want to check in the Dillon's backyard. It won't take long.
What would it have to do with me? I don't have anything to do with that house. I don't even live there anymore. You realize that, don't you?
Yes, ma'am. We realize it.
I'll call my lawyer. I'll call him as soon as I get to a phone.
Yes, ma'am. Julio?
Back this way, Sergeant. Through the gate.
What are you trying to do to me? You know I don't live here anymore. I don't even have anything to do with this place.
You did live here, ma'am. You lived here when Mr. Dillon disappeared. Isn't that right?
What are you trying to say? You've got no business on this property. You've got no business here at all.
Yes, ma'am, we have.
What?
Did you kill Chester Dillon? Did you kill him? Miss Banner?
All right, Julio, the compost box in the greenhouse. Do you want to start digging?
In the compost box? Yeah, okay.
He was an old man. So old he was sick.
Ma'am?
He didn't want to live anymore. He didn't have any reason for living. Why shouldn't he give me the house? Why shouldn't I have his money? I was nice to him. I cooked for him. Wanted to take care of him. He just didn't want to live anymore, that's all.
All right, Julio, you can hold it up.
You want to tell us, ma'am?
He needed a woman. Anybody could tell that. He needed me. We got along fine, Chester and me. I offered to marry him, and he wouldn't do it. All he could do was think about his wife. She was dead. He'd sit around and talk about her all the time.
You killed him. Is that what you're trying to say?
He wanted to marry Chester and take care of him. He wouldn't do it. We had an argument in the kitchen one night. I had a gun and I killed him.
Is that where you buried him? In the greenhouse?
Yes, I buried him deep. The gun, too. He'll be all right. Poor Chester.
Yeah.
He was so old. He needed a woman. Anyone will tell you that. He needed me.
Well, I guess you made a mistake.
No, Sergeant, he did.
Yeah?
He didn't want me.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, during the past couple of years, we've had many talks with law enforcement agencies and received hundreds of letters from police officers all over the country. We're especially pleased to know that so many of these men feel as we do that Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes. As a matter of fact, our sales reports prove beyond a doubt that more and more smokers everywhere are switching to Fatima. When you buy your first pack, you'll understand why. You'll enjoy Fatima's extra mildness, their much better flavor and aroma. Next time, look for the golden yellow package and ask for Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Lucille Marie Banner was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. She received the sentence as prescribed by law. She is now serving a life term in the State Penitentiary for Women, Tehachapi, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy next on NBC.
Escape tonight to occupied France and the underground. The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the second, is Operation Fleur de Lis, written and directed by William N. Robeson. Today, the 14th of July, the people of a free France celebrate the anniversary of their escape from the tyranny of the kings of Versailles. 158 years ago today, the people of Paris stormed the Bastille and let loose the French Revolution. The torch of liberty set afire that day never burned more fiercely than during the years when France was occupied by the Nazis. We escape tonight to occupied France, from which 3 years ago there was no escape.
You can call me Duke, but don't use my right name. I might want to go back to France someday. And there are a lot of people in the world that wouldn't understand that what I did was justified in a war. No, I don't have any regrets. Moral ones, that is. It isn't what I did to Renee that keeps me awake at night. Just the memory of her. There isn't much about her in my official report on Operation Fleur de Lis, but then it isn't customary to include descriptions of slim, sunburned legs and wide, deep brown eyes in a military document. And anyway, she was only an incident in the operation, even if she became somewhat more important to me. Operation Fleur de Lis began, like all the others, in the grubby, undistinguished house in London, which was the headquarters of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, otherwise known in various parts of the world as screwballs, cutthroats, spies, cloak and dagger boys, and American underground agents.
Gentlemen, Operation Fleur de Lis is planned to assist the advance of our forces once they've secured a beachhead in Normandy.
Is that where we're going in, Major?
That is one of the possibilities, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
You will jump over Grandmont in northern France, here on the map. You have to set up roadblocks on these 3 state highways. Here, here, and here.
There is an underground contract near Grandmont?
Yes, Alcine Dutton. He's leader of the local marquis. He's expecting. In addition, you have to block these railroad lines entering and leaving Grandmont. These operations are to coincide with the advance of our ground forces.
If they land in Normandy.
You will enplane tonight at 2100 hours and will drop over your objective at, I should think, approximately 2230. Any questions?
No, I don't think so, sir. Well, yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes, Lieutenant?
How many of us are going on this mission?
Just the 2 of you.
Just the 2 of us. And all we had to do was organize an underground army, disrupt the supply lines of a half a dozen Nazi divisions, and give support to the entire Allied invasion. Just the 2 of us. Well, that's the way the OSS works. And nobody ordered Hill and me into it. We volunteered. I don't know why. Maybe for moments like this one, when you get a B-24 assigned to you as a personal taxi, and there's lots of room to sprawl around after Bombay.
How do you feel?
Fine.
Scared?
Of course I'm scared, aren't you?
Me? No. This is a walk. You forget how tough it was when we were at parachute school at Benning.
Yeah, that was real rugged.
If the wind wasn't right, you might land in the Chattahoochee and get all wet.
And there was always the chance that you'd sprain your ankle coming down too hard.
And the sun was so bright on some of those daylight jumps.
Whereas we got none of those things to worry about here. A nice, thick, black night over France. No sun to blind us. No Chattahoochee River to fall into.
Hey, Lieutenant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Skipper wants to talk to you on the intercom.
Thanks.
Here, use my can.
Thank you. Duke here.
Lieutenant, I'm over your objective.
Any signal from the ground?
Yes, the one arranged. 4 dots, 2 dashes. Green.
Very well.
You and Lieutenant Hill move into the bomb bay catwalk. I'll open bomb bay doors in 30 seconds.
Roger.
Good luck.
Thanks. Sergeant, stand by to jump those supplies as soon as we're clear.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Ed. This, as someone has said, is it.
So soon? Just as I was settling down a good foot. Bomb bay doors are opening, sir.
Okay, Sergeant. All right, Ed, let's check your harness.
It's a frightful mess. I just can't seem to do a thing with it.
I know, but this is the last party. You'll have to wear it on. Okay. How am I?
Well, don't look now, but your chute's showing.
Tuck it in. Let's get out on a catwalk.
Wow, what a refreshing breeze.
And all of France at our feet.
You see the signal?
That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Over to the left. Got it?
Got it. Let's go.
The kid. Junior kid. Help. But for those 10 seconds while you ball free, nothing helps. You hang on to the ripcord and you count off the seconds and you try not to count too fast. Your hand on that ripcord is the only certain thing in the world as you tumble head over teacup with the wind tearing sound from your ears. And there's only one thought, always the same thought, whether it's your first or your 50th jump. Will the chute open? It does. Yanking at your armpits, knocking the breath out of you, slowing you down, and you swing there like a rag doll trying to get your bearings. First, you make out the horizon. That's where the black becomes darker black, where the stars stop. And you wonder about Ed, but you can't risk calling out. And now that you're located where the stars are, you look for the signal light, and there it is, slightly to the left. So you tug at your shroud line, spilling a little air to guide you toward it. And it's coming toward you awfully fast. And you hope this particular French patriot has picked out a field free of trees and church steeples. And then you try to remember all the things they taught you about hitting the ground and rolling with the wind and collapsing your chute. Because it's always like this. You always feel like you've never hit the silk before. And then you're down, and you roll just right, and you collapse your chute, and it's second nature to you after all. And then you hear footsteps running towards you. And you remember another important instruction. You whip out your automatic, and you hope your French is good enough to get you by. Eva, who is it?
Alcine here.
Fleur.
Lee.
Okay, Alcine, come on.
I'm glad you've arrived, Lieutenant.
So it seems.
You have no idea how long we've wished for this moment.
Hold it. That's my partner. Come on. Hey, Ed.
Over here, Duke.
You okay?
My empennage is slightly damaged, otherwise okay.
This is Alcine, our contact. Alcine, Lieutenant Hill.
Oh, Alcine. Lieutenant, it is a great pleasure to make your acquaintance. And on behalf of my countrymen...
Now, let's get these chutes buried and blow this place. Where's your transportation, Alcine?
We haven't any. Huh?
Where's the safe house?
You might be able to stay at my aunt's. I don't think she'd talk.
You don't think, aren't you sure?
Oh, yes, I'm supremely confident that
Where are the Germans?
They're everywhere. And that is why I'm so glad you're here. Now we can fight again. With your help, we will kill many Boches.
Wait a minute. How many are there in your marquee?
Myself and 2 others.
Just 3 of you?
Oh, my aching back.
But now that the Americans are here, we can do anything.
Oh, why don't they get these things straight in London? How can we block roads with a 3-man marquee?
3 men and an aunt who perhaps will not talk.
Well, let's get cracking.
Duke, you're not going through with this mad venture, are you?
What would you suggest?
Well, as for me, I'm all for taking the next plane back to London.
Another piece of bread, Lieutenant.
No, thank you, ma'am.
This bone chicken is delicious. How do you call it?
K-ration.
Supreme. We've had nothing like it since the boss came.
Yeah, well, you get used to it.
And cigarettes, Tante Marie. Cigarettes made of real tobacco. Ah, you Americans have everything.
Madame, Alphine, you are kind, you are hospitable. But the comforts of K-ration will not block roads. We need men. We must form a marquee.
But we have a marquee.
Look, Alphine, there are 3 of you and 2 of us. Sure, we've got guns and we've got ammunition and supply chutes somewhere out in that field where we landed. We've got arms for 50 men. But if we had those men, we still couldn't go to war against the German division.
Now, you said yourself there's at least a division garrison in Grammont.
What must we do?
First, we must organize a marquee. We need men. Can you get them?
I can go into the village and talk to my friends.
Should have done that a long time ago.
Faustine, that would be most unwise.
Why?
Didn't you know? Faustine is a patriot. He's a deserter from the Vichy army, so he's wanted by the Gestapo.
Oh, great. And there's a Gestapo headquarters in Grammont, of course.
Of course. Faustine is not one to run from danger.
Quite the contrary.
I can get Renee to help.
Who's Renee?
Alphine's sweetheart, a lovely girl from Paris. Poor thing, she had to come down to the country because her house was bombed out.
Let's leave her out of this.
But, Lieutenant, she would be most happy to help.
Alphine, you got a lot to learn about guerrilla warfare. You might as well study your first lesson right now. It's short and to the point. No games. Well, the next day, we collected the supplies, which had been dropped with us. And we set up a camp deep in the woods. Hill and I were loaded with French money, so we were able to buy food from the friendly farmers. Maybe it was the food as much as patriotism that brought us recruits. Anyway, after a week, we had nearly 30 men. Our marquee wasn't big enough for the job we had to do, but it was growing in the right direction. And then one night, as I was winding up a report to London...
Oh? What do they say?
What do they ever say? Message acknowledged. Carry on.
Well, what about new batteries for the radio? What about extra ammunition for the Buck Rogers guns? When are they going to get another drop to us?
Why don't you ask them?
Yeah, I know.
They do the best they can, I guess. After all, we're not the only Boy Scouts in this jamboree.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Duke.
Yeah?
There goes Alphine again, off toward the road.
What? Hey, Alphine!
Yes?
Come here a minute.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Where are you going?
I was just taking a stroll.
You on night guard?
Not tonight.
You weren't on night guard last night, were you?
No, Lieutenant.
Or the night before?
No, sir.
But you weren't in camp all night, were you?
No, sir.
What's the matter? Don't you like the camp? Rather sleep at your aunt's? Is it too rugged out here for you?
No, sir.
Then where were you?
In the village.
You know the orders. No one is to go into the village.
Yes, Lieutenant, but I only go in at night.
That makes no difference.
But it does. You see, Lieutenant, I'm so in love.
Oh, great. The girl from Paris?
Yes. You should see her, Lieutenant. She's the most beautiful, the most charming.
Don't you know you're endangering the whole marquee by disobeying my orders?
Oh, no, sir. There's no danger with Renee. She hates the bush. Why, she wants to join us.
You told her about us?
Oh, yes, sir.
Are you out of your mind? How do you know she's all right?
I just know that's all. She's the most wonderful person in the world. She's a real patriot.
I told you, rule number 1 is no game.
Yes, but Renee is different.
Yeah. Well, you better marry her before you bring her around here, or you'll have to share her with the rest of these wolves.
Lieutenant, do I understand you?
Forget it, Alfred. It's just an American figure of speech.
May I tell Renee she can join us?
Oh, not quite yet. Later, maybe.
Yes, Lieutenant. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
If you got to take it, Alphine, take it easy.
I do not understand.
Just another American idiom, Alfie. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Hey, Duke. You don't let him get away with that?
Well, what are we going to do?
Flat him into the guardhouse for 30 days.
Only this isn't the American Army. We haven't any guardhouse.
Yeah, well,
stinks from a security standpoint. I know. We try to keep these boys from sneaking off home every now and then. We're not going to have any Maquis. These French. An immoral race. I don't know about that. Remember Phoenix City, Alabama? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. There wasn't anything we could do. If we'd ordered Alphine to stay in camp, he'd have sneaked off anyway. He had that dreamy, faraway look that's baffled parents, teachers, and first lieutenants since the beginning of time. I didn't worry so much about it because our Maquis was growing, and Ed Hill and I were breaking our backs pushing those French kids through an airsoft basic in 3 weeks. Headquarters in London didn't tell us much, but we did know from the BBC that the boys had landed at Omaha Beach, and it wouldn't be long before they'd be needing our roadblock. And then one morning, about D+4, I think it was, I was out in the woods running a squad through concealment. Oh, no. Hit the dirt. Don't wait till you're dead. When you see the signal, hit the dirt right now.
Pardon me, Lieutenant.
Huh? Oh, I'll see. Where have you been all night as though I didn't know?
Lieutenant, I've got to talk to you.
Okay, I'll be through here in a half hour or so.
I've got to talk to you now.
Huh? All right, Alfie. Okay, boys, take 5. Come along, Alfie. What's on your mind?
Lieutenant, my family's been killed.
Oh, no.
Yes, by the Gestapo. Set fire to the house. My mother, my father, my 2 sisters. They ran out, the Gestapo shot them.
You're sure of this?
Yes, I heard it this morning from the neighbor who saw it happen.
The poor kid.
When can we attack, Lieutenant? When can we stop this endless training and fight the Boche? Now I want only to kill and kill and kill until I pay them back for my father, my mother, my 2 sisters.
Yeah, I know. You'll get your chance, Alfie, but not yet. We gotta wait. We're not ready yet.
I'm ready. Before I wanted to fight the Boche for my country. Now I want to kill him again and again. For them.
I know, but you gotta be patient.
It should happen to me now. Only last night Renee said she'd marry me. Come to live here with me in the camp. I was so happy. And this morning I learned this news.
When did you hear from your mother last?
Not for a month since we began to work, but I've written her every week.
Yeah? Who mailed the letters?
And they mailed them for me. She's so kind and thoughtful. She offered to mail letters home for the other boys, too.
Nice of her. Did they take advantage of her offer?
A couple of them.
Who?
Paul and Shauna. I told them about it. They wrote their family.
And Renee mailed the letters, huh?
She's a wonderful person, Lieutenant. You're going to love her.
Yeah, I think I am.
She's all I've got in the world now.
2 and 2 make 4 in occupied France, just the same as anywhere else. And sometimes it's just as hard to prove. But one thing was sure. Now I wanted to meet Renee in the worst way. But I had to postpone the pleasure because early that afternoon one of the outposts broke into camp out of breath. Yes, Paul.
The Boche. They're coming down the road through the forest.
How many?
I did not stop to count them. Several truckloads, to be sure.
Pass the word to Lieutenant Hill. Ask him to bring his detail into camp on the double.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Alfie.
Yes, sir?
Take 2 men and go down to the road and see what they're up to.
Yes, sir.
Just reconnoiter. Don't fire at them.
But this is my chance for revenge.
Listen to me. Don't fire at them at the command.
Yes, sir.
They may not be after us at all. Now get going.
Immediately, Lieutenant.
What's the order of the day, Duke?
Lance Graham? Yeah, looks like it. All your men here?
Presently accounted for.
All right, boys, now gather around, will you, and get this. There's a convoy of Germans coming down the forest road. Now, wait a minute. We're not going to fight them. You know what our job is. Roadblock. We got tanks, artillery, and airplanes that'll be along soon to do the killing. Now, look, our security's been pretty good. And those Krauts may be on a routine patrol. Chances are they don't even know we're here.
They do now. Listen.
Yeah. Well, that does it. All right. Your men got your weapons? Good. Well, you know the procedure. Get lost. Before you leave the forest, bury your weapons, ammunition, and equipment. Rendezvous at the home of Alphine's aunt at 2200 hours tonight. Good luck. Come on, Ed. Let's scram.
Well, he who doesn't fight and runs away lives to fight another day.
Something like that.
Who tipped them off?
I'm not sure, but I got a pretty good idea.
Who's down there at the road?
Alcine, he's fighting a private war, the poor jerk. The basic rule of 3 in guerrilla warfare is surprise, kill, vanish. However, when you're surprised, the only rule is vanish. And we did. There were about 50 Germans and a half a dozen dogs to track our scent. They spent the day thrashing through the woods, firing into the underbrush, and finding nothing. What a classic withdrawal. And Hill and I were proud of our little army, with the exception of Alcine, its self-appointed hero. When we arrived at his aunt's house that night for the rendezvous, a half a dozen of the boys were already there.
Who is it?
Fleur.
De Lis. Lieutenant, come in.
Good evening, madame.
I've seen him already here. I'm so proud of him.
Oh, Lieutenant, I was just telling Aunt Mary and the boys it was magnificent. I got 2 of them. I killed 2 Boche.
Your orders were not to shoot.
But, Lieutenant, what would you?
What happened to the other boys that were with you?
Jean was wounded and captured. Antoine became frightened and ran away.
That blows the Marquis. They'll get the full particulars from Jean. They haven't got him already.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but...
Quiet. Answer it, madame.
Who is it?
Look.
De Lis.
Open it.
Good evening, madame.
Come in, boys.
Running any trouble, boys? As you see, we are here. Yeah. Not for long. Lieutenant, Joel and I wish to withdraw from the Marquis.
Quit? Why?
The risk is too great.
You afraid?
For myself, no. But after what happened to John.
He was wounded and captured. We all take that risk.
Yes, but last night the Gestapo got John's family. Like they did Alcine.
No.
Stood them up in front of their house and shot them. Who knows who'll be next? My mother, Raoul's sister, Alcine's aunt. I wish to withdraw.
I don't know why. Right, now, wait a minute. I don't blame you for being worried about your family. But whose families do you think the British and American armies up in Normandy are fighting to liberate? Their own? No, yours. Now, this thing isn't as bad as it looks. There's been a leak in our security. Somebody's been putting a finger on us. So we lay low until the leak's plugged.
But the Germans are everywhere. Spies, perhaps, too, are everywhere.
I think I know who's responsible for these murders. I'll make a deal with you. Give me a couple of days to work it out. We'll issue you boys some money, and all you've got to do is to get lost until Saturday night. And then meet me back here. If I haven't patched up our security by then, you can all quit the Marquis and become collaborators.
Oh, it is not that, Lieutenant.
No one wishes to collaborate.
Well, one must think of one's family.
Okay. Pat. Yeah, dude. Give the boys 1,000 francs apiece.
Right?
Come and get it, boys.
Come on.
Alcine.
Yes, my lieutenant?
I'm going to have a little time on my hands for the next couple of days. You think you could arrange to introduce me to your girlfriend?
Oh, but of course, Lieutenant.
Maybe. If she's okay, like you say, we can let her sign up. Huh?
I'm desolated with happiness, Lieutenant.
One thing. None of that lieutenant business around here until I make sure she's all right.
Very well.
You think my French is good enough to pass as a native?
But of course, Lieutenant.
All right, then pass me off as a friend here. Let's see, I need a name. Let's call me Jacques Dufresne.
Jacques Dufresne. Good, I will make the arrangements immediately.
I thought you'd like an excuse to get into town tonight. The next afternoon, Alcine brought the girl out to the woods near his aunt's house. I stood behind a tree to watch and make sure they weren't being followed. She was all right. Tall, long, sunburned legs, her hair caught in a blue ribbon like a little girl's. I let them walk by, and then I stepped from behind my tree.
Oh, there you are, Jack.
Hello, Alcine.
Rene, this is my good friend, Jacques Dufresne. He's from Paris, too. Jack, this is Rene de Dubois.
Glad to meet you, mademoiselle.
And I'm honored to meet you, monsieur. Where do you live in Paris?
Near the Fort de Lis. But my home is no longer there. It was bombed out.
Alas, so is mine.
My family remain with friends, but I've come out into the country to fight with the resistance.
Jacques has much influence with the commander of our Marquis.
Oh, I hope you will be able to persuade him to let me join you, monsieur.
I shall do what I can.
It would be a privilege and an honor to work with a patriot like you.
See, Jacques, I told you Rene was all right.
You didn't tell me the half of it. Mademoiselle, you understand that we must be cautious. There are questions I must ask of a confidential nature.
Why don't we meet again? Alone.
Why not?
Say, tonight? I have a little car. We might take a drive.
Fine.
But, Rene, you promised me that...
I'll see you some other time this year. Remember, France comes first.
We just drove that night. She was wearing a white ribbon in her hair and a loose white dress and no stockings. We just drove around in her little Citroën with the top down and the wind blowing her hair like a girl in a magazine ahead. Then we came back about midnight and parked at the bridge. I felt like I was back in high school in Illinois.
Look at those stars.
Yeah.
So many of them. So close you can almost reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
I had them all once. I reached out and gathered them all in my arms once.
Yeah?
I want you to know all about me, Jack.
I want to.
Don't think it's wrong of me. But I've been in love.
There's nothing wrong in being in love.
He is a soldier.
Most everybody is these days.
A German soldier.
Oh.
Don't you think that love is bigger than war or hate or anything?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's dead now.
That's good. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm not sorry he's dead.
I'm so confused. I want to understand things. I want to be intelligent about things. Everything is so mixed up. Like now.
Like now?
Yes. Like I've never been so happy as I am tonight.
Not even with the German?
Not even with him. Why does it have to end? Why do those blessed stars have to go out one by one to make way for another day of war? Why can't we stop time? You and I. Gather all the stars together. Just for us.
I don't know, baby. Never been done before. But we can try. Yeah.
Tomorrow night?
Same time, same place. Forever if you say the word.
Forever?
Sure, why not? Who knows how long forever is in this crazy world? Why not have it together? Why not get married?
Why not, my most beloved?
See you tomorrow night.
I'll only be half alive until then. Sherry, if you want to write to your family in Paris, give me the letter tomorrow night, and I'll mail it for you.
Oh, no.
All right, drop that rock and grab a sock. Rise and shine, lover boy. I brought you a cup of chocolate. Figured you want breakfast in bed this morning.
Okay.
How'd you make out last night?
Okay.
Details? What's up with details?
Nothing much to report. We drove, and then we parked for a while and talked.
Did you give anything away?
No information. She's a funny kid. Her dialogue is as corny as a bobby soxer. She knows she's pretty, so she wants to be admired for her mind. But I'm sure she's Mata Hari.
How come?
She offered to mail a letter to my family.
That's consistent.
I asked her to marry me.
What?
She didn't believe me, but she pretended like she did. Oh, I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. Thrills, maybe.
French juvenile delinquent.
Maybe. Tonight's the night.
The night you get married?
No, the night we get her. The boys are meeting us here at midnight, you know.
What's the plan?
Well, I'll take another ride with her. And about midnight, we'll be back in park for the bridge. You'll be there out of sight. I'll have some brandy along, and I'll slug her drink with a capture pill. When she's passed out, I'll give you the come on, and you join me. baby. Have another drink, huh?
I shouldn't. Brandy always makes me sleepy.
Well, whatever. This is a celebration of our engagement.
Oh, kiss me, Jack. Again and again.
Sure.
Jack, the stars are near. Nearer than they've ever been.
Nearer than you think, baby.
I love you, Jack. I do love you. Kiss me again. Do it again. And again.
Willie. Baby. Are you asleep? You collaborationist pig, can you hear me? Okay, Ed. She out? Like a red light in an air raid. Here's her purse. Start through it while I untangle myself.
Let's take a look at this.
What is it?
A letter from Gestapo headquarters confirming receipt of 3 addresses.
Let me see that. Well, that one's Alcine's family and that one's John's.
And here's the Gestapo identification card.
Flash your light over there. Look at her.
What a dish.
Look at that kisser. She's responsible for the death of 6 people whose only crime was being born French. She'd have wrecked our marquee, snafu our mission, and turned me over to the Gestapo with his lipstick still in my collar. That gorgeous hunk of double-cross. Now we got the proof. Let's get on with it.
Okay. I guess you'd rather I know.
This is my job.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah. So long, honey. Thanks.
She ain't so gorgeous now.
Release that handbrake. Got it? Come on, shove. Not yet. Keep that steering wheel straight. The river's deepest right at the center of the bridge. Yeah. Now, hard right on the wheel. You know something, Ed? Huh? I think she finally did gather that armful of stars. Sure, the operation was successful. When the time came, our roadblocks tied up 3 German divisions while Patton rolled on to the east. But I still lie awake at night thinking I should have married that dame. Yeah, the operation was successful, but the patient died.
Operation Fleur de Lis was written, directed, and produced by William N. Robeson with Jack Webb as Duke, Elliot Lewis as Hill, Peggy Weber as Renee, and Harry Bartell as Alcine. Operation Fleur de Lis was based on an incident from the files of the OSS, recorded in Sub Rosa by Stuart Alsop and Thomas Braden. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Pure. Escape is presented by CBS and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape with F. Scott Fitzgerald in his unforgettable story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. And so, good night. Until next week, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
To hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to traffic investigation, hit-run felony detail. An elderly woman and her 9-year-old grandson are struck down in a pedestrian crosswalk by a speeding truck. The woman is killed instantly. Witnesses fail to get the license number. The hit-run driver escapes. Your job? Find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, You will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, December 21st. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of traffic division, hit and run felony detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Calfee, Commander AID. My name's Friday. It was 10:51 p.m. when we got to the Carlton Theater, the box office.
Thank you. How many, please?
Police officers, ma'am. I'd like to talk to you for a minute, if we could.
Oh, yes, you mean about the accident?
Yes, ma'am. One of the officers in the traffic car across the street, he told us you're one of the people who saw it happen.
Yes, that's right. Terrible thing. It was an old lady and her grandson, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Would it be possible for you to get a relief for a little while? A few questions we'd like to ask you about it. It won't take very long.
Well, I'll be off duty at 11. That's when the box office closes. 8 minutes to 11 now. Would you like to wait?
All right, ma'am. Fine.
Cold wind out there. Would you like to wait in here? Right around back here. I'll open the door for you.
All right, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice and warm.
Did anybody get the license number? Do you know, officer? I mean, on that truck that ran them down?
No, not that we know of. We understand the officers in the traffic car talked to you. You didn't see the number either?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't. The whole thing happened so fast. I saw the old lady grab the little boy, pull him next to her. It was an awful thing. The truck hit them both together. It's funny the things you notice. The boy was carrying a little box of candy. I heard this terrible thud when the truck hit them. I looked and the candy was spilled all over the street. I just couldn't help it. I got sick to my stomach.
Yes, ma'am, I can understand. Now, about this truck that ran them down, do you think you'd know it if you ever saw it again?
Well, I'm not sure. I think I might, yes. It was one of those delivery trucks, you know. I think you call it a panel truck. It was a light tan color all over, and there was black lettering on the side.
Mm-hmm. Could you make out any of the lettering at all?
Well, I think there were 3 or 4 words painted on the side, and I know one of them was bakery. I'm sure of that.
Did you recognize what make of truck it was, ma'am? The year, the model?
It was a late model. I'm pretty sure of that. Either a Chevrolet or a Ford, I'd say. One of those regular delivery trucks like some bakeries use.
You sure about that word you saw lettered on the side? It said bakery.
Yes, I'm positive of that.
Now, anything else out of the ordinary that you might have noticed about the truck, ma'am? Anything outstanding that might have caught your eye?
No, I'm sorry, officer. That's about all I can tell you. How is the old lady, do you know, and the little boy? Could they tell you anything?
Yes, ma'am. The woman's dead. She was killed instantly. They've taken the youngster over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Afraid he's in pretty bad shape, too.
Terrible shame. Poor old lady. She lives right here in the neighborhood, you know. I've seen her shopping in the market next door here Saturday afternoon. It's just tragic.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Boy's her grandson, you know. Somebody said he was down visiting her for the Christmas vacation. Seemed like a nice kid, well-behaved. She seemed so proud of him. Should be a sad Christmas for the family.
And just one more question, ma'am. When the boy and his grandmother were crossing the street, would you say the visibility was good? I mean, is there any reason why it would have been hard for a driver to see them?
No reason in the world, officer. It's a clear night. You can see how well the intersection's lighted up. All the Christmas lights strung up along here. The lights from the theater marquee. It was just as well lighted then as it is now.
Yeah, I see.
The intersection was perfectly clear. No other cars around. The boy had a white sweater on. The old lady was wearing a light-colored coat. Certainly easy to see the traffic light, too. It said stop. I can't understand why that driver didn't see him.
No, ma'am, neither can we.
How could anybody do such a thing? It just isn't any excuse for it. No excuse in the world. It's downright murder.
Well, maybe that explains it.
What?
That's why he kept going. 11:35 p.m. Ben and I finished interviewing the cashier in the theater box office, and then we called the office and had them get out a supplementary broadcast and an APB on the description of the hit-and-run vehicle. We went back across the street to the scene of the accident where the officers in the T-car, along with the crew from the crime lab, were finishing up their preliminary investigation. We interviewed 2 more witnesses to the hit-run accident, but they were unable to tell us anything that we didn't already know. When we got back to the office, we put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where they told us the 9-year-old boy struck down by the hit-run driver was still in a critical condition. The husband of the 64-year-old woman, who had been killed instantly, was brought downtown to the morgue where he identified the body. The next morning, we got out a special bulletin to all garages, auto repair, and paint shops throughout the city to be on the lookout for a late model tan panel truck, black lettering on the sides, with damage to the front end. 8:30 a.m. I checked with communications, and then I went back to the office. Hi. Just checked with Georgia Street, Joe. Asked him about the boy. The old lady's grandson, how's he doing? About the same. Critical condition. That's about all they'll say. That's a lousy shame. Communications get any kickback on the point yet? No, nothing at all. Did you get in touch with the crime lab? Yeah, they're not going to be able to help much. What'd they find out there? Anything at all? Just what we saw. A few small pieces of glass, probably from one of the headlights on the truck. I don't think they're going to be able to do much with him. There's not enough there to go on. That's the only physical evidence they got, huh? That's all.
Might be able to tie it down a little tighter if we could find that panel.
Yeah. You start checking on that bakery truck angle yet?
McGowan and I called every bakery in town, got it pretty well narrowed down. There's only 2 companies that use tan late model panels for delivery trucks.
Well,
only one of them uses black lettering on the sides of the truck. Other company says they use red lettering.
which one has the black?
I got it right here. Outfit called Nielsen's Wholesale Bakery. They got a fleet of 173 trucks, all the same, tan color, black lettering on both sides, late model Ford delivery truck.
Mm-hmm. They tell you whether or not any of their drivers could have been making deliveries that time of night, 10:30, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, there were about a dozen of them out on deliveries. More of them to account for than that, though.
What do you mean?
All their drivers are allowed to take the trucks home with them when they're off duty if they want to.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's going to mean checking out every one of them, Joe.
Well, we might as well get moving on it. They're going to give us some kind of a list to work with, are they?
Yeah, I've got it all set up with them. Again? Accident investigation, Romero. Oh, yes, sir. That's all. I see. You're right, thank you. Rotten deal.
Yeah, what's the matter?
That young kid, the grandson?
Yeah.
He just died.
Many times and on many different occasions, the police officer has it proved to him that there can be very little difference between a crime of neglect and a crime that's been willfully premeditated. If you look at it closely enough, you can judge it for yourself. How much difference, for example, as far as moral guilt is concerned, is there between the following? Number one, a man who plans a killing, takes up a gun, finds his victim, and shoots him to death. Or number two, the man who thinks he has to look out for no one's welfare but his own, gets behind the wheel of a car, disregards the ordinary rules of safety, and proceeds to commit homicide with a motor vehicle. Oftentimes, the crime masquerades under the guise of an accident. Morally, no matter how you spell it, it adds up to murder just as surely as if the person had taken a gun and shot the victim down. The way it looked to us, the hit-and-run killing of the elderly woman and her grandson was a prime example. Wednesday, December 22nd, Ben and I began checking out the delivery trucks owned by Nielsen's Wholesale Bakery. Late that afternoon, we located one of the trucks with recent damage to the front end. We checked and found the driver's name was Arthur V. Singer. We drove out to his home to interview him.
No, I wasn't working last night, officer. I was off. What's it all about?
Did you spend the night at home, Mr. Singer, or were you out?
Was home part of the time. After dinner, I went downtown to a little bowling. Our neighborhood team bowls every Tuesday night.
Where's that, sir?
Place downtown. It's on West 7th. Got a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm. Did you drive down, Mr. Singer, or did you take the bus?
No, I drove down. Had the company truck with me. Let us use them when we're off duty. We pay for gas.
Did you drive down by yourself, or was there someone else with you?
No, I was alone. The other boys had their cars.
When did you leave the bowling alley, remember?
About 10:15, I'd say.
How'd you drive home, Mr. Singer? I mean, what route did you take?
Oh, I drove straight out West 7th, got the Coronado, came over Coronado to the house here. Why do you want to know?
What time did you get home?
About 11:15. This wouldn't be about that little scrape I had last night, would it?
What was that?
Down at 7th and Grandview, right by Westlake Park there. Old guy in the car ahead, he stopped fast right in front of me. Didn't even signal.
All right.
Yeah, I almost plowed right into him. Lucky I was watching. I slammed on the brakes, turned in toward the curb. Should have seen it. I clipped the headlight and the right fender against a telephone pole. Had to take the truck in this morning, get it fixed up.
Are there any witnesses to this accident that you had, Singer?
Yeah, a half dozen people saw it.
Did you get any names and addresses?
Well, no, I didn't. I was so teed off about the whole thing, I guess I didn't think about it.
Is there anyone at all we can check with? Anybody corroborate your story?
Just the old guy in that car. Sure a lousy driver. I really chewed him out.
Did you get his name and address?
No, but I took down his license number. I wasn't going to pay for that damage. He admitted it was his fault.
I see. Do you mind giving us that license number?
No, if I can find it. Wrote it down on the back of an old envelope. Thought I put it in my jacket, but when I looked this morning, it wasn't there. It's around someplace. I'll check around again before I leave for work. It's bound to turn up.
I'd like to have you look for it now, Mr. Singer, if you would. It's pretty important.
Well, I don't think I can get it, officer. What's this all about, anyway?
Preliminary investigation. Want to see if you can find that number for us?
Well, why? What's it have to do with an investigation? I didn't do anything. That old man was his fault.
Well, a bakery truck was involved in a serious accident last night, the same kind you were driving. I'm afraid you're going to need some kind of an alibi, Mr. Singer.
Alibi? I don't know what you mean. Why'd I have to have an alibi? Well,
just take my word for it. You're going to need one.
Well, why do I need one?
2 reasons.
Yeah?
A 9-year-old boy and his grandmother. We continued questioning the suspect, Arthur Singer, but he denied any knowledge of the hit-run accident the night before at the intersection of Drexel and Pico Boulevard. We stayed with him while he searched his home for the license number of the car, which he said caused him to have his accident the night before. After half an hour of looking, he came up with a number scribbled on a scrap of paper which he'd found back in one corner on the floor of his closet. We put in a call to RDMV, and they came back with the information that the license number was registered to a Mr. Thomas Foley on Lankershim Boulevard. We drove out to the address to check with Mr. Foley, but there was nobody home. We left our card along with a message to contact us as soon as possible. 4:15 p.m. Ben and I got back to the office. At 4:35, Mr. Foley returned our call.
Yes, sir, that's right. Oh, you did, huh? I see. Well, what time was that? Do you remember? Oh. Well, all right, Mr. Foley. Thank you very much. We may be contacting you later. Right, bye.
What'd you get?
Thought this was starting out too easy.
Why, what'd he say?
Apparently, this Arthur Singer's telling us the truth. Mr. Foley says he did have a little scrape with a bakery truck last night. Described Singer as the driver of the truck.
Well, what about the location? Is Foley pretty sure about that?
Grandview and West 7. Said it happened about 10:35 last night. That puts Singer about 3 miles from the scene of the hit run. It's impossible, Joe.
Yeah.
This Mr. Foley's right. Singer couldn't have done it. Wasn't anywhere near the scene.
I sure thought he was it, didn't you?
We can drive out and double check with Foley. Can't think of any reason why he'd lie about it, can you?
I guess I'll get it. Accident investigation Friday. Yeah, it's had. Where? Yeah. Nobody, huh? Yeah, right away, thanks. It's moving a little fast. Got a piece of luck here.
Who was it?
Ted Zimmerman. He and McClendon are down the south end of town.
Yeah?
The hit and run truck. They think maybe they found it. 4:28 p.m. Ben and I left the office and drove to the south end of the city where we met with Sergeants Zimmerman and McClendon, a block from where the tan panel bakery truck had been located. As soon as the truck had been discovered, an immediate stakeout was placed on it. A code 5 was broadcast on the vehicle's location, warning all units to stay away so as not to discourage the suspect in case he decided it was safe to return and get the truck. Ben and I drove down the side street where the truck was parked and got a good look at the front end of it. The right headlight was damaged, and so was the right fender. While Zimmerman and McClendon remained on stakeout, Ben and I contacted the Nielsen Bakery people again, gave them the number of the truck, and they traced down the driver's name for us. He was listed as Daniel Miller. He'd been employed by the bakery for the past 3 years, and he had a good record. They told us this was his day off. 5:30 p.m. We checked at his home address, but his wife told us he wasn't there. She said that besides driving a truck for the bakery, he also had a part-time job at night. He worked as a counterman at a small coffee shop out on Wilshire Boulevard. We drove out to the coffee shop and interviewed him on the job.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know where the truck is. I wish I did.
What happened, Mr. Miller? Was it stolen?
No, not exactly. A fellow that comes in here quite a bit, his name's Paul. Good customer. He borrowed the truck from me last night. Said he'd only be gone an hour. I haven't seen him since.
Where does this man live, this friend of yours, Paul?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know. Good customer. He comes in quite a bit at night when I'm working. Gotten to know him pretty well. He asked to borrow the truck for an hour. Didn't think much about it. Let him have it. Is there anything wrong?
What's this Paul's last name, do you know?
No, I guess I don't. Never thought to ask him, as a matter of fact. Guess they never had any reason to.
About what time was it last night that you loaned him the truck?
A little after 8 o'clock, I think it was. He said he wanted to take his television set over to a guy he knew and get it fixed. He told me he'd be back by 10 o'clock at the latest.
You don't know where this man lives? You have no idea at all how to get in touch with him?
No, I guess I don't, Sergeant. Why?
You're in the habit of lending the truck to strangers?
No, not usually. Well, what's your beef, anyway? What's this all about?
What are your hours here at the coffee shop, Miller? When do you check in for work and when do you leave?
I check in at 7 o'clock. I go a straight 5 hours to midnight. That's when we close up, midnight.
Well, you worked that shift last night, did you? 7 p.m. straight through to midnight?
That's right. Monday through Saturday. 6 days a week. That's the schedule. It's just a part-time job for me, extra dough, you know. My regular job is driving the truck for the bakery.
Was anyone around last night when your friend Paul came in to borrow the truck? Maybe another customer, a waitress, somebody we could double-check with?
No, there were a couple other customers in the place. Don't know who they were, though. Why do you have to double-check anyway? I haven't done anything. I loaned Paul a truck, that's all.
Well, have you any way at all of proving you were here from 7 to 12 last night? Must have been some customers you waited on that you remember.
Sure, there are. At least half dozen of them. They'll tell you I was here.
I'd like to have their names and addresses if you don't mind, Miller.
Yeah. Excuse me a minute, huh? Got a customer waiting.
Sure, right in.
Hi, Dan. I missed you last night.
Hi, Fred. What do you have?
Coffee, a couple of those donuts back there, powdered sugar ones.
Okay.
Yeah, me and the missus dropped in for a sandwich after the show last night. Looking for you.
That's so?
Yeah, about 10:30. Where were you, Dan?
.15 p.m., Wednesday, December 22nd. We continued questioning the hit-run suspect, Daniel Miller, for a full hour, but he seemed to be unable to account for his time the previous night. His first story was that he'd been on duty behind the counter in the coffee shop without a break between the hours of 7 p.m. and midnight. Then, after the customer entered and disclosed that he was in the coffee shop at 10:30 the night before and that Miller was nowhere about, the suspect switched his story. He said he thought he left the coffee shop briefly for about 15 minutes between 10:30 and 10:45 p.m. to run down the street to a hotel to say goodbye to some friends of his who were leaving for New York. We checked at the hotel, but they didn't know Miller, and they hadn't seen him the night before. They were sure of it. We returned to the coffee shop and took up the questioning of the suspect all over again, but he made little or no sense at all. Apparently, he was piling up lie after lie in an effort to cover his tracks before and after the hit-and-run murder the night before. 7:48 p.m., Ben and I pulled Miller off the job at the coffee shop and took him downtown to the interrogation room.
I'm telling you, it's the truth. I wasn't in that truck last night. I wasn't in an accident. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then give us something to go on, Miller. You've handed us 3 different stories so far. Not one of them strong enough to hold water.
I'm telling you the truth. What are you trying to hang this on me for? I didn't have a wreck and I didn't kill anybody. Why are you picking on me?
Because you don't make sense, mister. You're trying to sell us a story and you haven't got 1 ounce of proof to back it up. That bakery truck you're responsible for is the same truck that killed the old woman and the little boy. Now, you come up with a solid story that we can check on, or you're going to be resting your back in the main jail.
No wonder they call you cops dumb. I wasn't in that truck last night. Can't you get that through your heads? I wasn't in the truck. I didn't have an accident.
Then prove it to us, Mr. Miller. That's all we're waiting for.
Listen, call Bill Calder. He's a good customer. He was in last night, I think. He'll tell you. Go ahead and call him. He'll back up what I say.
What's his number, do you know?
Yeah, I got it. Here, right here in my wallet. Yeah, Bill can tell you. Yeah, here it is.
Thank you. Hello, William Calder there, please? Yes, ma'am, it's important. All right, will you have him call Michigan 5211? Yeah, 5211. That's extension 2512. Right, thank you very much. Well, he's busy. He'll call back in a minute.
He'll tell you the truth. I was in the coffee shop all night. Just those couple of minutes I ran down to the hotel to say goodbye to those friends of mine. That's the only time I left the place.
Well, how come you couldn't tell us that to begin with, Miller? You say you've got nothing to hide? Well, why do you have to hand us 3 different stories? Which one are we supposed to believe?
I got nervous, that's all, when you first come in and started to ask questions. I didn't know what it was all about. I didn't know there was any trouble. I just loaned the truck to this guy, Paul, as a favor. How'd I know what he was going to do, getting himself in a jam like that?
All right, now try to look at it from where we stand, Miller. You loan out your truck to a man. You don't know his last name. You don't know where he lives. You say he must have been driving the truck when the lady and the boy were killed.
Sure, he must have been driving it. I wasn't. I was back at the coffee shop. I was there until midnight.
All right, then prove it to us. If you know the man well enough to loan him the truck, you ought to be able to find him.
No, they must be Bill Calder. He'll tell you. Go ahead. See what he says.
Interrogation room, Friday. Oh, yeah, Mr. Calder. Well, my name's Sergeant Friday, LAPD, Accident Investigation. Friday, yes, sir, that's right. Wonder if you'd tell me if you know a Daniel Miller. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you saw him? Do you remember? I see. The place where he works, the coffee shop? Were you in there last night by any chance? Did you see Miller in there? You're sure? Yes, sir. No, sir, that's all for now. Thank you very much. We're going to contact you later on. Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, how about it? He told you, didn't he? That enough for you?
He says he hasn't been in the coffee shop for 3 days. 9:45 p.m. Our interrogation of the hit-and-run suspect, Daniel Miller, went on. At his suggestion, we called half a dozen people who he figured might substantiate his alibi, but none of them were able to. Miller continued to deny any knowledge of the hit-run killing, but he still couldn't account for his whereabouts at the exact hour the 9-year-old boy and his grandmother were run down. The time element especially didn't work in his favor. Nothing worked in his favor. 11:30 p.m., Ben and I took Daniel Miller over to the main jail where he was booked in on suspicion of 480 V.C. The following afternoon, his lawyer obtained a writ, and he was released from custody. The writ was returnable in 5 days. He came immediately to the office to plead with Ben and I to help him find Paul, the man who'd borrowed his truck and thus clear himself. We took him up on it. Either way, we figured we'd get to the bottom of it. If Miller dreamed up the character Paul to escape blame for the hit-and-run killing, we were bound to find out sooner or later. If Miller was telling the truth, we had little reason to believe he was, and a man named Paul had borrowed the truck the night of the hit-and-run killing, we were bound to find that out, too. In any event, we had to investigate. It's the job of the police officer to prove guilt or innocence, not guilt alone. 2 days passed, and then another 2. The Monday following the Christmas weekend, we were ready to call a halt.
I don't know what else we can do. I think we've given enough time, don't you?
Well, the deeper we get into it, the more it looks like Miller's our man. I still can't make up my mind.
Why do you have to be stubborn about it? We've checked every possible angle on this story. We still haven't an ounce of proof that this guy Paul he talks about even exists. We can't string along with Miller forever.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. We've given him a square enough break on it. I still got that funny hunch. It's possible he might be telling the truth.
We've gone 4 straight days on it, Joe. Haven't come across one lead to back up his story. It's too much for me. I can't buy it anymore.
Go ahead.
Sergeant?
Oh, how are you, Miller?
I'm okay. Glad to see you. I've been looking for you.
We've been looking for your friend, Miller. Still haven't found a trace of him.
That's why I came down to see you. A friend of mine called me this morning. He knows this guy, Paul, I told you about. He says he saw him last night, going into a hotel down on South Flower.
How come we haven't heard from this friend of yours before? We've checked through twice on the list of everybody you know.
This fella's been out of town, just got back yesterday. When he heard about the jam I was in, he called me about seeing Paul.
Mm-hmm. This hotel Paul was supposed to have been seen going into. Have you got the address of that?
Yeah, it's over on South Flower, right near 12th. You want to go over there with me right now? This friend of mine wouldn't kid me. Paul must be there.
You're sure about that?
He must be there. I'll bet a month's pay on it.
He might be low, mister.
What?
Stands to cost you a lot more than that.
We went up to the 3rd floor to room 318, but the man registered as Paul Barton wasn't in. He'd left no word at the desk as to when he'd return. We sent Miller home and told him to wait for our call. Ben and I went on stakeout at the hotel. At 7:25 that night, Paul Barton returned to his room and we began questioning him. He showed no signs of being upset. His answers were quick, straightforward, and they seemed to make sense. The interview went on. A half hour, an hour, and Barton began to grow a little nervous. He contradicted himself. Big holes began to show up in his story as to how and where he'd spent his time the night of the hit-run killing. 8:45 p.m. Ben and I took Barton back to the office. We found Zimmerman in the squad room and had him phone Miller at his home and ask him to come downtown as soon as possible. Meantime, we checked Paul Barton through R&I, and then we took him to the interrogation room where the questioning went on.
You're a little mixed up about that, aren't you, Mr. Barton? I thought you said you went to that bar downtown about 10 p.m. and then you went to visit at your sister's house. Now you tell us you went to your sister's house first and then you went to the bar downtown. Now, which is it?
Well, that's getting a little high-handed, isn't it? Why do I have to account for my time to you?
If it wasn't important, we wouldn't be asking you. I think you know that.
Well, I don't know anything of the kind. You're trying to take advantage of me. That's the only impression I can get. I think I've answered enough of your questions. I'm going back to the hotel.
Just a minute, Barton. There's one more thing.
Yeah?
Last time you were arrested for a traffic violation, you want to tell us what the charge was?
What?
I think you heard me.
Well, that was a year ago. I was driving a little too fast going out Beverly Boulevard. And what's that got to do with it?
Our record bureau says the charge was for drunk driving. Your license was revoked, isn't that right?
Well, so what? I haven't been driving. I haven't been near a car.
How about last Tuesday night?
Huh?
Last Tuesday night, you do any driving then?
No, of course not.
You sure about that?
You're not trapping me. I answered all your questions. I'm
No,
getting
you're
out
going
of
to
here.
stay right where you are, mister. Stay put. Ben, you want to check next door, see if Miller's come in?
Yeah, okay.
You can't make me stay here. It's illegal. You got nothing to hold me on.
All right, then there's nothing to worry about. This won't take very long. We got a man by the name of Miller coming in. He says he thinks he knows you.
Miller? I don't know any Miller.
Nice going, Paul. Where you been? I said, where you been? What'd you do with the truck?
Yeah? Grab him, Ben. Grab him.
Okay, all right. Now, let me go. Settle down. Come on, mister. Settle down.
I didn't do a thing. Well, look, you can't prove it. You can't prove I did.
They're going to prove it, Paul. I'm going to help them prove it. You sure been a real good friend.
But give me a break, Dan. I didn't mean it. Honest, I didn't mean it.
I loan you the truck. You get boozed up. You run down a little kid and a grandmother. Then you take off and leave me holding the sack, like I did it.
Well, I didn't mean it, Danny. It was an accident. I wasn't boozed up.
Yeah, you're a real good friend. I hope you get it in the neck. I hope you get it with both barrels.
Look, Sergeant, it's not true. I wasn't boozed up. I only had 2 drinks. Now, believe me, that's all I had.
Yeah.
I couldn't have been drunk. It doesn't affect me that way. 2 drinks never hurt me. A couple of drinks never hurt anybody.
They killed a little boy and his grandmother.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. Paul Barton was filed on for violation of the State Vehicle Code, Section 480, a hit-and-run felony, and also for manslaughter, 2 counts. He was convicted only for Section 480 and received sentence as prescribed by law. A hit-and-run felony is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 1 nor more than 5 years. heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. One of your informants contacts you by telephone. He says he wants to see you immediately. He claims knowledge of more than 24 burglaries committed in your city. He offers the information despite threats against his own life. Your job, investigate. The latest Fatima sales report shows thousands and thousands of king-size cigarette smokers are switching to Fatima.
For the month of October, coast-to-coast actual figures show Fatima sales are up 110%, or more than double.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Remember, thousands of Americans are switching to extra mild Fatima. Next time, insist on the best, king-size Fatima, in the distinctive golden yellow package.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 16th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 1:38 p.m. when we got to the corner of North Main and Sotelo Street. Johnny Cokin's Cafe.
Pretty well filled up. You want to sit at the counter?
There's a booth over there in the corner. People just leaving.
Oh, yeah. Didn't see it.
This is all right, isn't it?
Yeah, fine. Oh, it smells good. I wonder what the special is today.
Well, it's up there on the blackboard.
Oh, yeah. Enchilada with cheese, coleslaw, salad. Well, it does smell pretty good, doesn't it? Wish I hadn't had lunch. I should have waited. I keep forgetting Monday's enchilada day down here. Sure like the way Johnny fixes it.
Hello, Friday. Ben, how are you?
Hi, Roberta.
Yeah, get these dirty dishes out of the way.
Okay, fine.
You going to be the special?
No, we forgot today was Monday. We had lunch already.
Too bad. What'll it be, just coffee?
Yeah, it's fine.
Friday?
Yeah, same for me, Roberta. Both of them black, I guess.
Okay, 2 blacks.
So you haven't seen Smalley around this afternoon, have you, Roberta? Red Smalley?
Red? No, I haven't seen him for a couple of days.
Okay.
Thought he said to meet him here at 1:30.
Well, he'll be along. He's never been on time as long as I've known him.
Yeah, I wonder what's eating him. He sounded a little excited on the phone.
Did he give you any idea what it was all about?
No, just said it was important. Had to see it. Hey, I was just thinking maybe I could handle one of those enchiladas after all.
Yeah, there's Red.
All right,
fellas. Hope I ain't late.
All right.
Been a long time,
Yeah,
huh?
sit down, Red. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. What's new with you, anyway?
Oh, not too much. How's it with you?
Here you are. 2 coffees black. How are you, Ben?
Hungry. What about a hamburger steak, huh? Some coffee, too.
Hamburger steak and coffee, right?
You're looking pretty fair shape, Red. You working steady now?
Well, you know how it goes. On again, off again. Put in a full month playing bar boy at Ziggy's joint place down in South Main, you know.
Mm-hmm. What happened there?
Business fell off, and Ziggy said he had to let me go. Been kind of thin ever since. I'm hustling programs out of the racetrack right now. It's not too bad. Can't afford to bet, but I get to see the races free. You can't have everything, I guess.
I understand you're a little worried about something, Red. Anything serious?
Well, yeah, might be. Like I was telling Romero on the phone, it wouldn't do me no good if it got out. I mean, me talking to you about it, you know. He'd probably tie a can to my tail if he knew I told you.
Who's that?
Guy by the name of Jeff Allen. You know him?
No, it doesn't sound familiar to me. Ben?
Me neither. Who is he, Red?
Second-story worker. Lots of savvy, too. He's fell a couple of times on burglary raps. Knows his business, though. Got a lot of moxie.
How long has he been in town, you know?
Well, about 6 months, I think. He come from the east, finished a stretch back in Michigan. He's a real pro.
Uh-huh. What's he doing out here, Red?
Well, matter of fact, that's what I want to talk to you about. Figured maybe you ought to know.
Yeah?
He's doing real good, the way I get it. I heard him and a couple other guys talking about it one night down at Ziggy's. They were having a couple of beers. Guess they didn't think I could hear him.
What'd they have to say?
This guy Allen was running off about how good he was doing, how many places he knocked over in the last couple of months, how much stuff he took.
And what's he look like, Red?
Oh, pretty average. About my height, dark hair, little scar right here in his chin.
Mm-hmm.
About 160, 70 maybe, 36 years old. Usually wears leather jacket and a black one.
All right, Red, here you go. Burger, steak, coffee.
Yeah, fine. Sure got a good appetite these days, working out in the air, you know. It does you good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you one passing that ball with Fletcher, Sergeant.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Good.
These burglary jobs Alan's supposed to be pulling, Red. Where's he working them? Do you know that?
Well, no, I guess I don't. It's all over town, I suppose. Sure good hamburger.
When you overheard him talking to his friends, did he mention any jobs in particular that he pulled?
No, but he's working hard. I know that for a fact. He pulls a new one every week or so, the way I get it.
And what about his M.O., Red?
Regular second story routine. He uses a jimmy or a small pinch bar. He usually goes through a window.
Does he work alone?
Strictly. His French bread's nice and fresh.
Yeah. Where's Alan staying in town, do you know, Red?
No, I don't. I know where I can find him, though. The 1322 Club out on North Paris. He hangs out there quite a bit, almost every night. I think the guy who owns the joint's a friend of his.
Jeff Allen. Is that supposed to be his right name, Red?
As far as I know, I only met him a couple of times. He hung around Ziggy's place when he first come to town. Of course, I didn't know what he was up to then.
Do you know him well enough to talk to him?
Well, just about, yeah. I'm not buddies with him or anything. That's why I don't want it to get out, you know. If he gets the word I'm on your team, I'm a dead duck. I don't think he wastes a minute killing me.
You don't have to worry, Red. We'll keep it quiet. Well, did you hear anything else? Or is that just about the size of him?
No, that's just about it, fellas. I'll keep near the ground. If I get any more rumbles, I'll pass it on. Well, guess you know I really hate to talk about it.
What's that, Red?
Well, I mean how bad things have been running lately, you know, since I got laid off at Ziggy's.
Uh-huh.
I hustle like mad with the programs down the track. Doesn't bring in a whole lot, though. And that lousy landlady had to raise my rent last week.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much can you use, Red?
Well, you know, as far as anything at all, just a little loan, maybe something to help me over the hump.
Well, the only thing I have is a 20, Joe. You got any change?
Oh, thanks, Romero. 20 will be fine. That's plenty. I sure appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, real good hamburger steak Johnny puts out. I gotta get going, fellas. Gotta be down the track.
All right, Red. Thanks a lot. If there's anything else, call us, huh? You got our number.
Sure thing. I'll stay right on.
Mm-hmm.
You want me for anything, holler, huh? I'm still at the same place.
Right.
Thanks a lot, huh? I'll see you later.
Yeah. Take it easy, Red.
Yeah. Bye, Red. He's getting a little expensive, huh?
He's probably been having a rough time, but he looked hungry to me.
Sure did. Grabbed that $20 bill like his life depended on it. I went to buy some new wool socks with there.
Well, I'll split it with you. Be worth more than $20 if the tip pays off.
Well, don't get me wrong. I didn't mind giving him the $20. It was worth it, but look at this here.
Oh, you have to check for the food, huh?
Yeah, I think the least he could have done was pay for his own lunch.
By and large, the character of the informant, in fact or fiction, isn't generally regarded with too much sympathy. To most people, the informant's nothing more than a stool pigeon, a squealer, somebody who, by the very act of informing, commits a sin against a supposedly popular unwritten law. Well, it's obvious that this isn't always so, because in the interests of law enforcement and justice, which means the betterment of the community, the informant very often plays a major role. Year after year, informants are responsible for the apprehension and conviction of many hundreds of criminals, people who rob and cheat and commit murder, crimes that are obviously far deadlier than informing. As for the mechanics of law enforcement at the level of the working detective, the informant is considered virtually indispensable. It's been said before by peace officers, and it'll probably be said again quite a few times. If your job is catching criminals and enforcing the law, this is the first rule you have to learn. The working detective is no better than his informants. 2:12 p.m. Ben and I had no idea if the information we'd gotten from Red Smalley was authentic or not, but it had to be checked out. We went back to the office and had Frank Cunningham and R&I check on Jeff Allen. We also had the stats office make a run for us on suspects with similar M.O.s. Then we started to page through reports of burglaries which had occurred throughout the city during the past 3 months.
No.
How you doing over there? Anything at all?
Not too much. Wait a minute, maybe. This might be one of them.
Here, let me see.
Home in Hollenbeck Park neighborhood. Burglar's M.O. matches out and a time element, too. Happened 6 weeks ago. Window on the second floor of the house was pried open. They took furs and money, $23.
Uh-huh. That's the only one you found?
Another one here I took out a minute ago. M.O.'s pretty much the same on this one, too. Only thing different is the night of the week it happened on. This one's a Thursday. That one there's a Sunday.
Yeah, it checks out pretty close otherwise. The only one thing I can't figure.
What's that?
Well, Allen's supposed to have been in the city for at least 6 months. According to Red, he's working a job maybe once a week, once every 10 days or so. Now, you got 2 reports there that match his M.O. here. I picked out 2 more from that other pile. Seems to me if he's been working in town for a couple of months, there ought to be more than 4 reports on him, shouldn't there?
I got it. Burglary in Merrill. Oh, yeah, fine. Jeff Allen. That so? Oh, you have, huh? Okay, right, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah?
R&I got a make on Allen. He's had one arrest here 4 years ago on a vag charge. He's a loser out of Michigan. Fell for burglary. Never been picked up for burglary here, though. He isn't registered.
And that's all, huh?
That's it.
Doesn't seem to gel right to me, does it to you?
A lot of loose ends to figure out.
I wonder if Red was handing us a line on this thing.
Why would he?
Well, maybe he needed that $20 touch. Maybe this Jeff Allen's an old pal of his. Red had a falling out with him. He wants to get even with him, I suppose.
Possible, I guess. I don't know.
Hi, Joe. Ben?
Oh, hello,
Tabor. What do you say? What's with you? You still in that stakeout south end of town?
Yeah, 3rd week. Sure getting dull. You two are busy. What's all this?
Oh, we got a tip on some prowl artist trying to get a line on.
Take a look at this 3.1, will you, Jim? You run into any jobs recently that stack up like this in here?
Let's see.
We're shooting in the dark on it so far. I don't know if we got anything or not.
I'd say you got it. Burglary report in 77 Division this morning. Happened to check it when I was out there.
Same M.O. as this?
Same everything.
4:55 p.m. Ben and I went down the hall to the record bureau and picked up a couple of mug shots of the suspect, Jefferson Allen. Then we drove out to the 1322 Club on North Ferris Avenue in the Silver Lake District, the neighborhood bar where Allen spent most of his time, according to our informant, Red Smalley. We staked out in a car down the street where we could keep an eye on the front door to the bar and still not look suspicious. Between 5 and 7:30 p.m., we watched at least 24 customers entering or leaving the bar, but none of them came close to Allen's description. 8 p.m., nothing. By the time we were relieved on stakeout at 11 p.m., Allen still had failed to show. Late the following afternoon, we were back at the same spot, watching for a sign of the suspect. 6:48 p.m.
How you fix the smokes?
Oh, I think I got a couple left. Yeah, here you go.
Oh, thanks.
I got a light here.
Yeah.
11A, 6th Spring. 118, 6th Spring.
Hey, have a look, Joe. Gray hat, dark suit. Just came out of the bar.
Yeah, it's coming this way. Yeah, I'll buy it. That's him.
Getting in that blue sedan.
All right, don't press him. Let's give him a good lead.
All right.
He's getting in.
What do you think, Joe?
Let's wait a minute. Yeah, okay, we're clear.
All right.
You got him spotted?
Yeah, no trouble. That's a funny one, huh? Wonder why we didn't see him go in the bar.
I don't know. Might be a delivery entrance in the back of the place we could have missed.
Can you make out that license number?
Can you pull out just a little?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, let's see. 7 Tom 7 972. I better check it. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Control 1 to 80K. Go ahead.
Control 1. Request rolling make and DMV on 7 Tom 7 972. That's 7 Tom 7 972.
Control 1 to 80K, Roger. Stand by. KMA 367.
Doesn't seem to be in any great hurry. Barely poking along.
Where is he now? I can't see.
Just turned right onto Bronson. I want to give him plenty of lead. Yeah. That's him up ahead there.
Picking up speed now. Don't lose him.
All right.
Control 1 to 80K. Control 1 to 80K. Come in, please.
Here we go. 80K to Control 1. Go ahead.
7 Tom 7972. The car is registered to D. Denver J. John Carpenter, 1322 North Ferris Avenue, Los Angeles.
80K to Control 1. Roger. KMA 367.
Carpenter. Same guy owns the bar, isn't it? His Allen must know him pretty well.
Well enough to use his car. Wonder what the pitch is there.
You checked on Carpenter, didn't you?
Yeah, clean bill of health, no record. Hey, up ahead there. Now he's slowing down.
Yeah. Turning up on that driveway. Pull up under that tree there, huh?
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
See him?
Uh-huh. He's getting out, going into that bungalow over there. Letting himself in the front door.
No sign of anybody else there, huh?
No. House was dark when we drove up, wasn't it?
He couldn't be living there alone.
He might be.
Doesn't make much sense to me. Why would a single guy get himself a house that big?
Well, let's wait it out. Maybe he'll come up with the answer.
9:15 p.m. We continued our stakeout on the bungalow on South Bronson Avenue. A little more than an hour passed when we saw the lights go out in the house. The suspect, Jeff Allen, came out the front door, locked up, got in his car, and drove off. Ben and I followed him. He drove directly to the bar on North Ferris Avenue, the 1322 Club. He parked his car and went inside. Ben and I drove back to the cottage on South Bronson and let ourselves in through the back door. A preliminary check of the house failed to give us any real proof that Allen was the suspect we wanted. The only possible lead we came up with was an expensive hunting rifle, which we found stored away in one of the closets. We copied down the serial number on the gun, drove to a neighborhood cigar store, called the office, and asked him to check out the number for us.
Yeah, right, Murph. We'll wait for the call. Yeah, thanks.
How'd you do?
Gonna check it through now, that call.
Good. I'm a little hungry, aren't you? Would you like candy bar?
No, I'm getting a little tired of them. I wouldn't mind a square meal, though. My back's killing me. Never been so sore in my life.
Well, what's the matter? Did you fall?
No, nothing like that. It's my snoring again.
You're snoring? What's that got to do with it?
Almost broke my back. It's the wife's idea. She claims when I'm sleeping, I roll over on my back and snore, says it keeps her awake all night.
Well, there's not much you can do about it, is there?
Yeah, the wife thought of something. It's supposed to be an old home remedy. She sewed a couple of golf balls right into the back of my pajamas. You get the idea behind it? If you roll over on your back, the golf balls dig into you and you have to roll over on your side again.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what happened to you?
Well, I'm a sound sleeper. Rolled over on my back and stayed there. Slept on those golf balls all night. Woke up in the morning like to have died. Felt like I'd snapped a couple of vertebrae.
Must be an easier way to keep you from sleeping on your back.
Well, it wouldn't do any good anyhow, Joe. It just won't work.
What do you mean?
I snore just as loud sleeping on my side.
I get it.
Hello? Yeah, Murph. This is Joe Friday. Mm-hmm. W615344? Yeah, that checks. That was a serial number on it. When was that? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Murph. Thanks. Bye.
I think maybe we got a break.
Yeah?
They got a make on the gun we found.
Is it registered to Allen?
No, it was taken in a burglary 2 months ago.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Millions heard it, yet only 46 have written.
Starting on Dragnet over a month and a half ago, on September 20th to be exact, Fatima made a special money-back offer to more than 10 million listeners. The results? Amazing.
Millions heard it, yet only 46 have written.
If you smoke king-size cigarettes, listen to Fatima's famous offer.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy their extra mildness and superbly blended tobaccos. If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before December 1st, and we'll give you your money back, plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Fatima's latest sales report shows Fatima sales up in every state in America. The month of October, coast to coast. Actual figures show Fatima sales up 110%, or more than double.
Yes, thousands and thousands of Americans are switching to king-size Fatima. So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Extra mild. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Tuesday night, April 17th, 10:38 p.m. We got additional information from the office on the hunting rifle that we'd found in the bungalow to which we'd trailed the suspect, Jefferson Allen, a few hours earlier. The gun was registered to a Mr. Robert LaSalle, 3008 Bush Street. The rifle, along with $300 in jewelry and $48 in cash, had been taken from LaSalle's home 2 months before during his family's absence. The burglar's method of operation matched Allen's alleged M.O. exactly. 10:45 p.m.
After arranging for a stakeout to be placed on the bungalow on Bronson Avenue, Ben and I drove to the 1322 Club on North Ferris, where we located the suspect, Jeff Allen.
Yes, sir, that's correct, Sergeant. I'm from back in Michigan originally. Been out here about 6 months now. Think I'm going to like it. Sure can't beat this weather, huh?
You've been working here at the bar ever since you got in town, is that right?
No, not quite. I've been here for about 4 months. It's kind of a handyman job. I help the bartender when I can, keep the storeroom in order, see everything ship-shape, you know.
Uh-huh. You ever been in Los Angeles before, Alan?
Yeah, just once before, a couple of years ago. It wasn't so good then. Jobs were hard to get. I ran into a little bit of trouble. Finally went back east again.
I see. What was this trouble you had?
Well, as I say, jobs were pretty hard to come by then. I kept checking around, but I couldn't find anything. It wasn't so good. I finally got picked up on a bag charge.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a couple of weeks at the county. When I got out, I figured the best thing was to head back east again. A lot better this time, though. I'm doing okay. See, I couldn't get you anything. Huh?
No, thanks. It's the same.
There's something maybe you'd like to talk to me about? Anything I can help you with?
It's a routine checkup we're on. Got a few more questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure. Let's take one of these booths back here, huh? Might as well be comfortable.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
You sure I couldn't get you anything? A bottle of beer, Coke, maybe?
No, thanks.
You have your family out here with you, Alan, your wife?
No, I'm not married, Sergeant. I haven't taken the plunge yet. Figure there's plenty of time for that. It's hard enough to keep myself going these days, let alone a family.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You ever been arrested before, Alan? I mean, other than that bag charge you mentioned, you ever served any big time?
Yeah, matter of fact, I have, back in Michigan. Pretty dumb trick. I got in trouble as a kid. Burglary. Served all my time, though. I don't owe them a day. I'm washed up with that stuff a long time ago. It just doesn't pay, that's all.
Then that last time there was any trouble was that bag charge. Is that it?
Yes, sir, that's it. As I say, I'm all washed up with that stuff. It doesn't pay off at all. I got wise to that.
Mm-hmm. Glad to hear it, Alan. You figure you're going to stay on here, then. Make this your permanent home.
Yeah, I think I might. I sure like the weather. Job suits me, too. Boss even lets me use his car once in a while. Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah. Where you living now? You got an apartment in the neighborhood here?
Yeah, I got an apartment. Nice little place. Not exactly in a neighborhood, though. It's out in West Hollywood, right on a bus line. No trouble getting into work. Just a small apartment.
Whereabouts in West Hollywood? You mind giving us the address?
No, it's on Norwich Avenue. Why do you ask?
It's part of this routine check we have to make. You mind very much if we drive out there with you, Alan, and look the place over?
No, I don't mind. I mean, if you figure I need checking out, I'd just as soon clear it up now. I got nothing to hide. You want me to get my coat?
No, that's all right.
Say, I should be back here in an hour or so. What do you think? I mean, it's just a routine check. It won't take long, will it?
No, not too long. I suppose you can figure that better than we can.
How do you mean?
You said you had nothing to hide. 11:20 p.m. We drove the suspect, Jeff Allen, to his apartment on Norwich Avenue. It was more than 2.5 miles from the bungalow on South Bronson, where we'd followed Allen earlier that night and where we'd located the stolen hunting rifle. While Ben and I made a thorough check of the apartment, Allen sat relaxed in an easy chair. Ben and I covered everything in the apartment, but there was no evidence of any loot taken in the burglaries.
That's about it, Joe. Checked everything.
Okay.
That's about it, huh, Sergeant? You fellas want a beer before we go back to the club?
Just one or two more questions, Alan, and I think we can wash this thing up.
Sure, Sergeant.
Do you rent some other place in town? Another house or an apartment, maybe?
Another place? No. Why would I do that? This is my apartment. This is where I live. Why do you ask that?
About 6 o'clock tonight, you were seen going into a bungalow over on South Bronson, the same neighborhood as the club where you work. We got a pretty good idea that there's quite a bit of loot from burglaries stored in that house.
I don't follow you, Sergeant. I don't know what you mean. I don't live on South Bronson. I live here. You ought to be able to tell that.
You were seen going into the bungalow, Alan, about 5 minutes past 6 tonight. We found a stolen hunting rifle in the house. It was taken in a burglary. You think you want to tell us about it?
No, I can't tell you anything about it. I don't have any bungalow on South Bronson. I'm not even sure I can tell you where the street is.
Well, you better get your hat, mister. We'll show you. 11:48 p.m. We got in the car and started driving down Beverly Boulevard back toward the bungalow on South Bronson Avenue. When we got to the bungalow, the suspect still refused to admit that he had a key to the door or that he was in any way concerned with the place. We had him empty his pockets, and among his possessions we found a ring of keys. We tried them on the front door of the bungalow. The fourth one we tried opened it. We went inside. Alan still would admit nothing. Ben contacted the landlady next door, and she said she'd be right over. I continued questioning him while Ben checked through the house again.
Hey, Joe.
Oh.
Joe, you want to come back here? I think we got something.
Yeah, all right, Ben. You want to go ahead back there, Alan?
Sure, okay. Still can't tell you what the score is, though. I don't belong in this place. It ain't mine.
Well, that key you had seemed to fit the front door all right. How do you figure that?
That doesn't mean anything. I had that key for years. I think it's a skeleton key. Opens almost any kind of lock.
Down here, Joe. Small basement here. Leads right down off the kitchen.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead, Alan.
Have a look, Joe. Line of cupboards all the way around here. Check them for yourself.
Yeah, all right. Pretty good haul. Furs, machinist tools. Jewelry. Quite a bit of it here. A couple of radios. 2 more hunting rifles. Come on, how about it, Alan? You want to save time for all of us now?
You got it wrong, Sergeant. This isn't my place, I told you. When I got out of that trouble back east, I made up my mind I was all washed up with this kind of stuff. This house isn't mine. I haven't got anything to do with it.
You're kidding yourself, Alan. You know that.
No, you got it all wrong. You got it all mixed up.
Well, we'll let the landlady tell us.
The woman who owns this house, she's on her way over from next door. She ought to be able to tell us who she rented the place to. Wouldn't you say so? Wouldn't you?
She might be wrong. It's possible.
No, look, we got you dead to rights, mister. Why not face it?
Can't. I won't do it. I made up my mind the last time. It wouldn't happen again. I was all washed up with it. I won't go through it again. They'll send me back. I won't be able to take it.
Maybe you should have figured that before you started in.
I didn't mean to. I was all washed up with that stuff. I told you that the first time I saw you, didn't I?
Yep.
I'm sure of it, too. I wouldn't try it again. Didn't pay. It's just what I told you. I'm all through with it. I'm washed up with it. I never lied to you, did I?
What's the difference?
Huh?
You lied to yourself.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 6th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. September. Fatima first made its famous money-back offer. Millions heard it, yet only 46 have written. October. Actual figures reported Fatima's sales up 110% coast to coast, or more than double. November. Thousands more switching to Fatima. So why wait? Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes. And, Mr. Dealer, that's your cue for November. This month, with Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up, I know you'll want to get your full share of all the new Fatima business. Check your Fatima stock tomorrow. Make sure you can take care of the thousands of Americans who are switching to Fatima, insisting on Fatima quality.
The apprehension of the suspect, Jefferson Harold Allen, resulted in clearing 22 cases of burglaries committed over the past 4 months. Allen was indicted on 22 counts of first-degree burglary and received sentence as prescribed by law. First-degree burglary is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 5 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, only 2.6 patients out of every 100 reaching the most forward hospitals in Korea died later. The comparable figure in World War II was 4.5. According to official medical statements, the almost miraculous success in saving the lives of casualties is owing in part to the prompt use of blood plasma on the battlefield and whole blood in military hospitals. Whole blood reduces shock, a potential killer, and replaces blood lost through bleeding. In the treatment of many battle casualties, there's no substitute for blood. Every American who has given blood can and should feel he personally has contributed directly to the saving of the life of an American boy. This month, your country is short 300,000 pints of blood. Please give your blood and save a life.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Today's the silver anniversary of NBC.